Alright, we should be, and we are live. Welcome everyone who has decided to watch this, either live or at a later time. This is the weekly veteran shit talk. Oh, wait, did I say that? No. We are on our 8th week now of doing the show, and with that we are going to get into more guided topics, more actual... I don't want to say structured because, let's be honest, it's not going to be. But there will be topics we talk about, and one of the ones that came up recently in a conversation I had with Strike was actually about a daunting statistic that came out a couple years ago about United States veterans, where on average 22 commit suicide a day. And as such, there is a organization for mental health awareness that I have become a member of, bringing attention to it, and that is actually part of the purpose of why I started this stream in the first place. And that is 22 Kill. Their website is linked in the description below for anyone who wants to get involved with it. You do not have to be a veteran to be involved. Strike is actually looking at joining in some of the volunteer events in his area as they come forward. It's a great organization to be a part of because it is about bringing attention to the mental health hurdles that our current generation of veterans do face because of all the fucked up shit that we were put through. And with that, getting into the actual nuts and bolts of everything, let's go ahead and get started. This week so far, on the panel, we have Eric and Bo Holbo. So we have the US and the Danes covered right now. More people will be joining in as we go along, but hey, we gotta start somewhere, don't we?
Oh, great. So we're starting from the low end? Yeah, thanks a lot, man. Thanks a lot.
No, you guys were the first ones in, so you got to take that for what it is.
I'm sorry, but like as soon as you introduced me, as soon as that, I'm looking because I got the YouTube up as well, so I'm seeing the picture streaming, and it's the plane that's like crashed on the ground, going shh. I hear it.
Oh, that was a wonderful one, wasn't it? Jay Brown has been the meme master for finding all of these, which for those who are veterans and are interested in joining, even just contributing on the back end, we do have a Discord server, which my email is in the description box as well. Go ahead and send me an email. I will get you linked to the veterans only Discord server. Everyone else, use the fucking live chat and comments. I do take a look at them and read them, so we are good on that aspect. But, so, Bo, did you... And speaking of, here's Squirrel! All hail the Squirrel!
Hey, Squirrel! Hello.
Oh,
It is.
lots of new games that I can't run tomorrow. I'm not allowed.
No.
Well,
What?
there's these things.
They don't allow old-timers to play games anymore?
What? Yeah.
They don't allow old-timers to play games anymore?
No. It's that I've got some games that are. I have some games that had some games sent to me that are pre-release, and they don't want me covering them until date X, and date X is anytime between Monday and Wednesday.
Aw. Are we talking small company games or big company games?
Well, some of them are actually fairly large.
Well, as long as it's not EA games, because they're assholes to their competitors, the ones they buy off anyway.
Oh, no, nothing like that. No,
Okay, cool.
EA won't give me games because I am too damn small. However, THQ Nordic likes me, as do a few others.
Well, I can hear that I'm already in over my head. I mean, the last time I really gamed as such was back when Team 17 still existed, and Westwood Studios was a thing.
Yeah, no, I've actually seen a Team 17 game recently.
Sorry?
Which I've actually seen a game from T17 recently, and I forget which one it was.
Yeah, well, I mean the old school 8-bit gaming thing. I mean, I was back in the day, and I'm trying to get my gaming back on with my Commodore 64, but I'm still looking for a decent screen for it. I don't want to use my flat screen for it. It needs to be authentic.
Oh yeah, you got to go CRT on that one to get the full nostalgic experience.
Oh yeah, I know. I remember all of that. I don't think there's a CRT. Oh, there's one CRT modem or one CRT monitor in the neighborhood, and I don't think it works.
Hey, that sounds like a challenge for me, if it was me. Well, not much of a challenge. I mean, CRTs are really easy. Exactly, that's what I mean. CRTs.
Actually, believe it or not, I no longer have the tools to go in there and repair it. I wish I did, actually.
Yeah, I mean, it's just that the old school CRTs without a computer, they're so easy to fix. You don't even need a schematic. Never mind the service manual. You don't even need the schematic.
No. Usually a functional block diagram is plenty.
Well, it really depends on how deep you want to go into it, because honestly, I can do a lot with just a basic systems block diagram, but it's so much more fun and from my experience, easier if you have a little bit more of a detailed schematic, just to... But then again, I'm used to going down to the component level like that.
Well, I happen to like going to the component level, except that there are some things you can't get schematics for.
Oh yeah, sometimes it's stuff that's too old, or
you have to do detailed crap.
Oh, but you are aware of a website called electrotania.com, right?
Yeah, no, it was not long after I got out. This is mine.
No, mine.
What? Mine. Finding Nemo.
Trying to get. My wife wants coffee, except that she doesn't like the stuff that I drink.
Yeah.
So.
But.
You make the coffee that only midwives drink, the strong stuff that you can put a spoon in the middle of a cup of coffee and it will and leave it and it will not fall to the side.
Oh, the bottom of the pot, yeah. The fucking percolated shit. You know, some people swore by the percolated coffee while I was on active duty. I couldn't stand it. Granted,
okay, you need to explain the percolated for me.
Oh no! That was the fun shit. Remember the great big coffee drums from the Carrier?
Oh. See, I was never really a huge coffee drinker in the first place. I blame my senior year of high school for that one, because doing a large Dunkin' Donuts coffee every goddamn day on my way into school kind of overdid it just a bit.
Don't feel bad. I wasn't either. So I was one of those odd ones in the Navy who didn't drink coffee.
I didn't drink coffee either.
You know what? It was me and one of the QMs. We used to trade our tea. We used to bring tea with us, and we'd swap the tea types we bring.
Okay. Yeah, the big drums of coffee. The best time to go get it was right before they made the day's batch, about 4:30 in the morning. That shit wake you up every time.
Well, the thing with the percolated stuff is I actually tried it one time, and I thought espresso tasted overcooked.
Oh yeah.
Holy fuck.
Actually, more often than not, at the 0430 coffee, it was, if it was really good, you cut it with a fork. It was brilliant.
So, Bo, did you see what the topics were that were listed for today that I figured would be entertaining in one way?
Let's see if I can remember. It was the politics stuff.
Oh, yeah, it was generally politics, but...
Let's see.
What?
Let's see.
They aren't in the topics. They don't seem to be in the topics thing.
Yeah, and I'm looking at it right now. Well, that is, I'm not looking at it because I can't see it.
Well, topic suggestion is part of Ship's company, believe it or not.
Yeah, it's that's where all the new ones are going to go. The original ones. Oh, that is a good choice for a movie night, Jay.
You're welcome.
I want to say I put it on the mess decks.
I'm looking. Oh, that was one of them here.
Ooh, nice hairdo.
Approving silly things for. You should show them that last one there.
I'm not sure. I wasn't seeing where we were in the slideshow, but actually, Bo, it is in the Shit Talk Central.
Is it? Okay. No. Going back to the mess deck, the Navy approves.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
that one.
I was wondering if you'd actually noticed what the article was, or where the article was from. Do you know that website at all, Lord Croc Squirrel?
You know what? I'd have to go look. Duffelblog.com? Nope, I don't think I've.
Do you know what the Onion is?
Is that one of the? Is it one of those things?
Yeah, it's the military version of the Onion.
Okay.
And the Onion is a much less bad iteration of what's it called? Huffington Post.
Yeah.
I mean, my little sister does say that when she lived in the U.S., the Huffington Post isn't all that bad in some aspects, apparently.
Oh, now I remember why I didn't.
I'm not sure.
I remember why I wasn't satirical.
Yeah, the Onion is purely satirical.
I remember now why I didn't take I didn't take a long look at that particular article. No, they want their ad block. They want my ad blocker turned off, but that is not happening.
Ad blocker can be
Incognito
your
mode.
friend. Yes, incognito works too. But so now that you've seen it, Bo, my idea is to start with the first one because that second one, oh boy, is that going to be fun.
All right.
Well, what?
So
That walk thing there, I've never heard about it. If that's the one.
So Walk Away is something that I honestly hadn't heard of until it was the last weekend. It popped up on my recommended feed. And out of my morbid curiosity, I was like, I wonder what this is about. And the first one I watched was this woman talking about why she walked away from the Democratic Party. And her story was a rather intriguing one. Intriguing in the sense that the entire time I was thinking, well, no shit.
Yeah. No kidding.
But then...
And let's see, Democratic, that's the POTUS party right now, right?
No.
No. The other party. That was the Hillary Clinton.
Fair enough. That's how much I care about American politics.
Yeah.
Only having two parties, retarded.
Oh, well, no, we have more than two. It's just two of them dominate the landscape, and the idiots think that those are the only options when, no, there are others. You just...
Well, I do realize that when the elections come up, there's more than just two competitors. There are way more, but it's still just from two different parties, right?
Well, the problem with the U.S.
parliamentary system, don't you, Bo?
Sorry?
You guys do a parliamentary system, don't you?
Yeah, we have, can't remember how many different parties there are, but there's several.
Well, part of the problem here is that the system is stacked. Is designed in such a way as there are basically only two parties. It's stacked against any third parties.
An umbrella kind of thing.
Yeah, because I mean, you could have. And I mean, there have been cases where one of the main parties has gotten replaced in the past. I mean, that has happened. It hasn't happened in a while, but it's happened.
Big until we actually got until
the Civil War.
Democrats came about. Our current pair of political parties, the Democrats and the Republicans. Yes, I mispronounced those two intentionally.
I didn't hear anything wrong there.
Well, what's funny is
the Republicans. They didn't actually start existing until the late 19th century, for the most part.
It was around
Abraham
1850.
Lincoln was the first actual Republican president.
Yeah, and at that point, the Republicans were progressive and the Democrats were conservative.
Oh, absolutely. That actually
or recessive.
Switched. I think we switched between those sometime in the mid 1930s.
1920s, 1930s. Yeah.
Yeah, that happened. It was kind of like the post Teddy. Actually, the TR period is where it really started swapping. Because Teddy Roosevelt, by modern standards, Teddy Roosevelt was like extremely progressive. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, I mean, the switch was over by the time Franklin Delano Roosevelt was about halfway through his rise to power.
Well, it depends on the area you look at, too, because you have that whole Southern Democrat thing that was in place up until, the late 50s? Late 1950s? Yeah.
I think you're actually looking for the late 40s, about the same time as Strom Thurmond got himself elected.
Well, no, it was in place then. It was in place then, but the actual shift where a lot of older Southern Democrats switched to the Republican Party did not take place until the 60s. Late
50s, early 60s is when that was happening, yeah.
Yeah, so there is still that disparity even within the parties between the old guard and the new guard as recently as then, which is interesting. But what I found particularly intriguing with the majority of the videos and stories that I heard about why people were walking away from the Democratic Party and giving more credence to the talking points of the Republicans is that they realized that the overall thing was, yeah, they're promising all these great things, but that's not how they're actually acting. And
no, they're not.
And when it comes to the programs that they want to fund and instill, where's the money coming from? They actually started looking into it, and the first woman in particular, the first video I watched really struck me because what she said, so she lives in one of the suburbs of New York City. Very liberal area, like super liberal area when it comes to things socially. She started voicing displeasure with how the Democratic Party was running, and she was all but ostracized by all of her friends.
Yep.
And some of them even got violent against her, like verbally violent against her.
Well, you have to realize that the Democratic Party at this point is going so far to the left that rather than being liberal, they're starting to become completely regressive. And actually, that's been going on now for several years. The whole social justice narrative has completely overtaken mainstream Democrats.
The Republicans aren't much better either.
Made me throw up in my mouth there.
Well,
we've become very polarized.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing: anybody to the right of Hitler or Stalin seems to be marked these days, at least, as the alt-right. I mean, really, if you are remotely to the right of either of those two wastrels, then you're way too conservative for the average social justice warrior. It's hilarious when you look at it.
Yeah. Well, and is anyone else here keeping an eye on the live chat as well? Because we actually are having interaction from Sean Hawkins, which I completely love, which is actually goes towards this conversation as well. The two comments in particular: the lion's share gets paid for through a massive recovery of wealth from the uber rich, and Trump voters hate socialism, but wouldn't they want to have what Trump has? I'll start with that second question. Under socialism, like true socialism, Trump would not have what he has. So that is a failed question from the outright. If you really want to look at how socialism ends up being applied, take a look at Venezuela and how they are falling apart miserably.
Venezuela, the former Soviet Union, Cuba, yeah, go there. What was it, Zambia or Zaire a few years back? They tried that, and what they wound up with was runaway hyperinflation to the point where a billion Zaire, it was Zaire, where $1 billion in Zaire would not have bought you a Big Mac.
Yeah,
you needed like $5 billion to get a Big Mac. It was hilarious.
Yeah, and that's where a lot of people who support socialism will actually point to the Scandinavian countries, which there's one factor that they always seem to forget about that comparison. Well, two specific ones, which actually, Bo, it's great that you're in here because you can speak to it.
They're mixed economies. They're not they're not like pure socialism.
Well, aside from the fact that they're socialism light at best, Bo, what is the ethnic diversity of the country you're in?
Oh, let's see. I'm terrible at noticing that kind of thing, but it's not mixed up. It's just as much as America is mixed up in I wouldn't say ethnic, but heritage composition.
Mm-hmm.
That's how little our population is mixed in terms of heritage, in terms of ethnicity. I mean, we don't have that many different. Of course, we always have. All countries do different people. Yeah, sorry, my my drugs are starting to work here. We don't have that many different people in terms of different backgrounds in Denmark.
Yeah.
It's but I mean, we do have if we discount all the fugitives that have been here for a long while, long enough that they have either established themselves in the society or even while still being registered as a asylum seeker, or the ones who have actually been granted a Danish citizenship.
Mm-hmm.
It's not all that diverse.
No,
not in terms of people from originally from different countries, as I remember, as I know it anyway. Yeah, I'm not all that much into it, so but.
Well, no, that actually is a point that I heard brought up that I actually had to look into, because for the vast majority of things, I really don't give a fuck about ethnic background. I don't. It's not about where you came from. It's about who you are, how you are, and what you do. It's about the individual from my personal perspective on that. But it is interesting how a lot of these people will point towards these very homogenous areas as examples of, oh, we should be like them. And it's not entirely like they would think. And the second bit of that too is, what's your national population like?
In numbers, or what do you mean? What's your national population?
The population of the country itself, like how large of a populace you actually have.
Oh, okay, fair enough. Oh, I can't even remember myself. I think it's 7 million or something. It's less than New York, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, you're about the size of a major metropolitan area here in the U.S. Which, when you have,
we're a small country, but when you look at the country from above, it is quite literally the face of the globe. Look at the geography. It looks like a face.
Yeah.
Or a head, I should say. Come on, where is it? Damn thing. Oh, okay, fair enough. No, it's 5.75 million.
Yeah, but still, size of a larger metropolitan area.
Yeah, our area is 349 square miles of land.
So about half the size of the state of Oregon, and approximately the same population as St. Louis or Chicago.
Oh, hang on. My bad. That was density, population density. My bad. Sorry about that. No, we have 16,577 square miles. My bad.
So not even that.
And that's excluding the Faroe Islands and Greenland, which is also a part of the Danish crown, at least. Yeah. They're separate countries, but they're part of Denmark.
Okay. You guys actually distribute profits from oil, if I'm not mistaken.
Blank. Pass.
Not sure.
I have no idea, but we do have a good deal of oil export, as I understand it.
Yeah,
Sweden. No, wait. I think Norway has a good bit of it as well, but no, we do have some. I'm just not sure how much, and how that stuff works even.
Anyway. Yeah, it was one of those countries in that neighborhood that actually distributes money from oil sales.
Yeah. Well, but then again, I don't know how that stuff works though.
No, and so getting back to the chat and Sean, he mentioned a couple counterpoints and how the most often cited comparisons against socialism goes towards those experiments run by corrupted governments. Well, here's a problem with that counter. When you're looking at a national scale, those are the only examples that come close to true socialism that we have in the modern world. So, until I knew more about the other two communities that you cited, which, Jay, I saw you comment on the internal side about it. Do you have any insight into those? I know you do a lot of the more political stuff.
Well, I haven't actually looked into either of these two locations. I actually just pulled up the Twin Oaks International Community page, but I don't think that's necessarily the Twin Oaks he's talking about. And I'm looking up East Wind right now.
Yeah, it's because here's the thing. I will rationally evaluate any system. It's just that to date, on a large population scale, the implementation of socialism has really failed when trying to get it to the true sense of socialism.
Okay, can I get a clarification here? The way, specifically the way you mean socialism. Are you talking about everybody sharing their wealth?
Yeah,
distributing wealth, or what are we talking about?
Well, no, actually what they're trying to do is resurrect Karl Marx, and every time it's been tried, it fails miserably.
It goes.
Oh, wait a minute.
It goes.
Everybody
it goes against
gets
human
money
nature,
whether they're working or not, or something.
No, it's actually you're pretty much going to be required to work, and you get to the government gets to tell you what job you're going to wind up with, and and the workers themselves reportedly own the means of production, which means they get to vote on how a factory is run.
Oh, so it's not exactly a slave kind of thing. You actually get not a vote, but you get a say in how it's done, but you can't choose your own.
What you have is a set of voting blocks. You have the little guys that work the factory floor. They send one representative up to the next level and the next level and the next level, all the way up to and of course I'm looking at the all the way up to the high end of the government. But you only could do that if you were a part of the party. That was actually the Soviet method for doing so, and most everybody else that's tried it, with the exception at this point of Venezuela and the Chinese, still do this.
Are we talking about at the same time where the Soviet Union also had, I'm not sure about the correct term, political officers in the military?
Yes.
Like we see in some, movies about Russian submarines or something.
Before it crashed, from 1917 all the way up to, I think, the mid-80s. The Soviet Union finally crashed and burned in the early 1990s.
I'm sorry. What was the last?
What?
What was the last thing you said there? Something crashed.
It finally crashed in the early 1990s. I want to say it was 92 or 90.
Okay.
Don't quote me on that. It's actually something we could look up fairly quickly if we really felt the urge. Anyway, we've kind of gone away from walk away here.
Little bit off topic,
but that's not really a problem, though. It gets the conversation going.
I walked away from the Democratic Party when they burned Bernie. I did. I'm like, no, you guys just burned
the cute old uncle kind of guy.
Yeah.
I kind of like Bernie. I've never actually walked away from a party because I've never actually been specifically with one. I've always been independent. So
actually, believe it or not, to assist in the process of to assist in the Bernie process, I actually had to join the Democratic Party in this freaking state. You must join a party. You don't get to have a say in.
I'm in
primary.
I'm in an open primary state.
Oh, lucky you.
Go to hell.
Yeah, man, fuck off.
He is in hell already.
Yeah. Anyway, mainstream Democrats mainstream Democrats right now are trying to line up behind Ocasio-Cortez and her Democratic Socialists of America. That shit will not fly.
Well,
it won't.
Here's the thing, though. They're going to pull in the Bernie side by backing her, which that was...
No, they won't. The Bernie side, even the Bernie side is going, yo, woman, no way. I don't think so. I've been talking to a lot of people that were former Bernie supporters, and unless the Democrats get Bernie, they're not casting a Democratic vote. They will not happen.
Yeah, but here's the problem with voting for Bernie, and I know this isn't the best reason to negate wanting to vote for a particular politician, but do you really think he would survive a term as president?
No, he'd have to have a much younger vice presidential candidate, and even so, that person would have to match up ideologically very close to Mr. Sanders. That being said, Ocasio-Cortez is so far to the left that she is absolutely adamant about destroying borders. And if you destroy our borders, you're going to destroy our nation. Period.
Well, okay, I have a big problem here. since I'm not in the States, I can only I have no chance whatsoever of understanding how politics works in the U.S. because certainly from what I've seen, politics in the U.S., especially around election time, is more about
slander.
Slander and destroying other people's reputation. For the most part, trying to find some actual dirt on the competitors, maybe sometimes lying, but so I can't. I have no idea of what people actually do, what they actually are.
Mm-hmm.
This woman you're talking about, what's the problem here? Because obviously I've never heard of her before, but
she has stated herself that she has stated from her own mouth that she's all for abolishing immigration customs enforcement, the border patrol, all that shit. She is completely in favor of opening our borders to everyone.
As in literally just open the gates and let people walk through completely, or at least getting some control.
Nope.
I mean, some ID.
Controls.
Nope.
No
Because here's the thing: the way we're set up right now, there are controls in place. They're not properly or consistently applied, which I see as the issue. Not the fact that there is hurdles to get through, but it's the inconsistencies with it, and then also the limitations after someone's here and it has been deemed to not be up to snuff to stay, but still being allowed to stay because reasons.
In terms of threat, or the threat, or in terms of their ability or their willingness to actually provide for the country, or to
that's actually
lift their own weight, so to speak.
Europe. The problem here is and it's something that the current Republicans are trying to correct, is not letting people in just because letting people in, but letting people in because they are capable of doing that, of putting in what they're taking out. And that's the thing that Mr. Trump is currently trying to get on with. Unfortunately, he's finding a lot of pushback from the very, very, very vocal minority.
Yeah.
It's like here's a good one for you guys. Does anybody know by what margin Ocasio-Cortez was actually voted on, or by how many votes?
Oh, I'm
guessing
a
couple thousand or so.
Yeah, I'm guessing it was a really small percentage.
It was she won by like 51 or 52%.
Yeah, so by
52 to 48, and of that, and for that number, there were a grand total of 27,000 votes cast in a district that consisted of some 700,000 people.
Wow.
Yeah.
Talk about voter apathy.
You figure she got between 13,500 and about 14,500 votes.
What did I walk into? I just got
it. This is the BBC Political Hour.
Oh yeah. So what are we talking about?
Socialism.
Democrats versus. We're talking about normally Democratic voters walking away from the Democratic Party because of bullshit.
Yeah, there's no way to to successfully implement socialism into a society and expect a society to keep moving forward. It immediately stops all forward progression.
Well, here's the thing. There was a person in the chat earlier, Sean Hawkins. He's apparently left. He gave examples of 2 communities here in the U.S. that work. But I think the problem is that the people who are in favor of socialism don't realize that to go to a scale the size of a national entity, it fails entirely.
So I've actually seen that guy. You said Sean Hawkins, right? I think I've seen several of his videos online. They're actually they're pretty good. He fucking talks shit about Mr. Thrive and Survive all the time. I love that shit.
Well, but he's good on my part then. on my end.
Yeah, no, he has some interesting videos. If you're out there listening, or if you listen in the future, go stop by Sean Hawkins' channel and check him out. But actually, socialism does not work. There's a fundamental flaw to socialism. Socialism is built for the poor and the weak. That is only. It will never benefit the strong or the hardworking. So if you basically say everybody gets the same, this is known as equality of outcome. So it doesn't matter how hard you work, you're going to get a portion. Okay, you're going to get the same portion as the next guy, and that's how it works in socialism. We're not talking about inner classes or harder jobs versus whatever. We're talking about literally, let's say there's 2 landscaping companies that open up, and in socialism, when you have one landscaping company that's going out and putting all the flyers and doing all the work and mowing 95 lawns, and the other guy's mowing 5 lawns with no flyers, they get paid the same.
Yeah. On paper, it looks sexy, but yeah.
And that's the reason. Exactly what you just said, Bo.
Here's the flip side of that. If I'm getting paid, if I'm getting paid if I'm getting X amount of resources for my day's work, and the guy that's doing that's doing a half or a third or even a quarter of the same work is getting the same amount of resources, I'm not gonna bust my ass just
right.
And
that's the beautiful thing about capitalism. Even though capitalism itself has its flaws,
every kind of any way. God damn it! It doesn't matter what kind of system you have, it will always have flaws.
Yeah, it's going to work for some people and not work for the other people, and that's why.
Exactly.
But the good thing about capitalism, and this is the only reason that I myself, I try to stay very centered in between those two, because I see where there's where some of the like you said, the sexy ideas of socialism, like everybody should be treated equal, but there should not be, but there, to an extent, okay, you should be treated equal as long as you're not a bad person. Let's say you want the same rights as I do, but I'm upstanding member to society and you're a mass murderer, that's on the lam. You don't deserve the same rights I do. I don't care what you say or what anybody else would say. I'm proponent of the death penalty. I think that people that are true menaces to society, and I'm not. If you're a thief, that's not a menace to society. That is a menace to society, but it doesn't put a danger to society. Murderers put dangers to society, and I don't know why we make exceptions to what you would normally not see in our. And I know this is going to sound like we're going backwards in our the way we treat people, but the cavemanish ways. If you had somebody who killed other people in your tribe, you killed him. Or you put him out. You didn't say, well, here, let's throw him in a locked up tent for life.
Well, to be fair on that issue, though, is like, I'm not a fan of the death penalty, but it's not because I'm not a fan of the death penalty. I'll put it this way: I'm not a fan of the death penalty because our court system isn't perfect; it makes errors.
Okay,
and I don't think it's acceptable. Maybe if there was a case that you could, absolutely 100% guarantee. Sure,
I'm not talking about just an average person that had committed a murder. I mean, people do things under stress and that they are typically out of character. I'm talking about true menaces to society. I'm talking about people that pose a danger to the community around them.
Exactly.
They do not deserve for that community.
And murder.
The community does not need to carry the burden of feeding and housing this person who, if you said, we're not going to feed you and house you anymore, so you can go ahead and get out. Okay. Well, when he gets out, guess what he's going to do? He's going to go back to killing people because it's hardwired in him.
There's something I'd really like to know, though. People who are sentenced to death, not life imprisonment, but death. Why? I've heard of people waiting more than a year to get executed. Why does it take so long?
Part of it.
Gotta be sure.
Wait.
Once at a time would be a perpetual.
Well,
they can go through.
Well,
and most people that are most of the folks that are sentenced to be executed will exhaust that as best they can and get it to take as long as possible, in the hopes that they'll either die or get their convictions overturned before they can be executed.
Yeah.
And then it was Benjamin Franklin that said, better 100 guilty men go free than a single innocent man be punished.
Yeah, absolutely. And I agree with that 100% too.
And that's why it takes a while. They have the automatic appeals process. You know.
Does that mean
and
that
even with that,
even no external
even with that, our system makes it, so.
Yeah, but does that mean that if there's no external pressure or external interaction, the worse a crime is that has resulted in a person getting the death penalty, let's see, the worse it is, the shorter time they get. From sentencing to the execution,
well,
or
it can be shorter. Let's say you have somebody who, let's say that the shooter in the theater, okay, and they caught him red-handed outside, and there's a conspiracy behind it. But we're gonna go ahead and say fuck the conspiracy. Let's say this guy actually did it, okay? Or how about the guy that shot up the South Carolina churches? He was caught. He admitted to it. He said, "Hey, let's start a race
with his arm down the cookie jar."
Right.
Literally.
His appeals process, he has the exact same appeal process, let's say, as a man who's accused of killing his wife and stepdaughter and gets a life sentence, okay? So he has a trial. Let's say both of their trials end and they get sentenced on the same date. Well, his appeal process might take longer because the appeal court wants to review the evidence more. Now, that Dylan kid, he's going to still get the same appeal process as the other man, but when it gets to the appellate court, then they're going to just say, okay, this guy, there is no need to review his evidence. Let's just deny his appeal immediately, get on to his next, formal appeal that he's allowed to have. It all eventually goes down to his own personal appeal that he gets at the very end, where he can appeal to I believe it's the mayor, the governor of the state. The last appeal comes from the prisoner to the governor of the state that he's in. Now, if it is a situation, they may want more time to verify that this is worthy of the death penalty. Where another case where it's so obvious, they won't give him that much thought, that much consideration to his appeal. They'll just accept the appeal because it's necessary by law, decline it as necessary by law, and move on to the next appeal, so they can go ahead and exhaust all appeals and finally execute the prisoner.
Okay,
so it's short.
And in terms of crimes that can result in a death penalty, is there a difference between the different states in terms of what kind of crime?
All capital punishment.
It's the same thing. It's the same thing.
It has to be first degree. It has to be a first degree capital case. I'm sorry.
Okay, so there is at least one thing that is the same on all states then.
No, well, no, I mean, not necessarily, because not all states have the death penalty. Some states don't.
Now, here's one for you.
Yeah.
Anybody remember the curious case of Theodore Robert Bundy?
Ted Bundy.
Bundy does ring a bell.
Didn't he get off death penalty because the state changed their policy?
No, actually, they did execute him.
On theology thing?
They executed him, and they did so quickly. Why? Because Mr. Bundy decided to waive his appeals.
Oh, okay.
Now, in today's world, you can't do that. You no longer have that right.
Yeah.
It's here in Washington. They used to execute people by hanging until one of the hangings that they did resulted in the guy's head coming off.
Yeah, fuck that guy.
Pretty much, yeah. Fuck that guy.
Hey, you know what? Look, if he did something that deserves the death penalty, then I don't care if his fucking arms, legs, head, and everything fall off. I hope it falls off in front of 10 million fucking people, so they realize that they shouldn't fucking kill people.
Well, you know what this guy did? He walked into a police station and shot it up. He killed 10 cops.
Yeah, he deserves to die. His head deserves to pop off. I'm glad they tightened the noose that tight. I hope they use fishing.
I'm kind of what do you call it? I'm undecided in terms of pro or against, for or against death penalty. As I understand it, the American prisons, all the different types of prisons that you have, I guess you have at least 3 different kinds.
Way more than that. Way more than that.
Yeah, but it's not exactly a walk in the park. If you just done something stupid and you get 2 months in prison, for example.
Well, like in Texas, you can't. I don't think anywhere you can get a prison sentence of less than like 18 months assigned
Wow.
to you. Yeah, you have to. But that's prison. Okay. So anything less than that, you would. It depends on the state.
You spend that in a state or a county jail.
Yeah.
Usually the county jail you spend that time in. Anything less than 1 year.
Yeah, I have no idea about the jails, but as I have seen on documentaries and yada yada yada, prisons in the United States aren't exactly a party.
No, I'll be honest with you.
Unless you're on top of the totem pole, you are in hell.
That's not necessarily true. Yeah, and I've never been to an actual prison, but I know a lot of people. The thing about prison is you are taken out of one society and put into another. So you have to learn to integrate into that society. If you can't integrate into that society, then you're going to stand out as a potential victim to somebody who's already in a society of criminals. So you have to be able to integrate. If you can integrate into the society, then you really don't have anything to worry about because the members of the society will watch out for you the same way you would watch out for your neighbors. That kind of camaraderie does go on in our prison system. However, it does not seclude you from being a victim to being more likely a victim of sexual assault or, assault and battery, any one of major crimes, because you are around, pretty much lifetime criminals. If you look at the recidivists, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and since there is no, and of course I'm at a loss of the word. There is no, what do you call it? There's no attempts of
rehabilitation.
Rehabilitation. Thank you. There's
lots of it.
Yeah. Well, that's the image that's around anyway. I mean, at least for the people I know here in Denmark that I've talked to, and sometimes it does come to God damn it. We sometimes do start talking about the prison system in Denmark compared to other countries and so on, and we also always get to look at the American prisons as we see them in Denmark. I mean, as we understand them.
Well,
there is no rehabilitation whatsoever from our point of view.
We do have rehabilitative programs in our prisons. However, comparatively to yours, it's virtually non-existent. I mean, there is a little bit, but it's.
The other thing, Bo, is that you have the people that are in prison because they chose to be like that, and they'll always choose to be like that, and they internally know that. So the rehabilitative programs that are available to the U.S. prisoners are primarily not, even if they are used, they're not put to use when they leave the prison. When they leave the prison, let's say they got a college degree in prison, 99% of them are going to come out and go right back to living at their mom's house because they have nowhere else to go. So that means they're going to be around all their friends, and that means that they're going to do the same thing, get in the same trouble, end up in the same place with a college degree already.
Well, that's another part of our that's another part of our problem here, Vice. Is there's very little transition stuff done outside of it.
Well, so, I see two major problems as well too. There's the 3 strikes problem, and and the problem of not having a social security safety nets, like we do in Denmark.
All right, Bo.
In terms of getting help,
Bo, I got a question for you. Okay, who actually runs your prisons? Is
the
it
state.
Government? Is it the state, or is it or is it some other entity?
It's the state,
No,
like we used to be.
It's states exclusively. Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
all the correctional facilities in Denmark, both for youths and for schools and for prisons, is state-run completely.
Would you believe that that at this point the overwhelming majority of prisons are run for profit by private concerns?
Yeah.
That's
the thing in America. You have that. Yeah. You have the majority of prisons in America are privately owned prisons, especially like in Texas. We have so many private-owned prisons in Texas.
And see, that drives another problem that we have in the U.S. device over there in your country, is the fact that about 40% of the people that we have in our state prisons would not be in prison over there.
No, probably not.
We have a lot of somewhat simple public offenses and drug offenses that have extremely heavy prison sentences.
Yes.
Yeah.
I like that fact when Obama tried to fucking let all those prisoners out, and they were all like 1970s marijuana charges, like 2 ounces, yes. And they're in prison for 10, 15, 20 years. And
because
or it's their third strike, and they're in there for life.
Yeah. Well, in Denmark, the EMS services, I mean the ambulance services, I'm not sure that has ever been state run. As far as I'm aware of, but the cost is kept down to some extent. I mean, it's not, we're not overpaying for it, and I do believe some places that have been privatized that was previously run by the state itself was actually oh god damn it was actually meant that the costs of running it came down, because the company that takes over, they get the same amount of money that the states had for a budget, but they could do it even cheaper and still provide the same services.
I wonder how they pulled that one off.
But let me ask you a question about your prison system. Do the prisoners provide for themselves, or is it all? Does the prison provide for the prisoners?
Well, sorry, my mic just dropped off.
Let me give you an example. In Texas, prisoners are fed by food that's grown on prison farms, worked by prisoners. Does that happen in Denmark?
I just had to redo my mic here. Well, when I was a kid 30 years ago, I had the local newspaper routes that included the state prison in the town I lived in, Horsens. And back then, the prison was more or less a factory. It didn't have enough land to produce, produce potatoes and so on. Not enough anyway. But they had shops where they built furniture for the states. They had many other production facilities, I should say, where the prisoners did work, but not work for their own money so they could buy food, but for extra stuff like candy.
No. This is different. This is a farm where they're working, where the product from the farm actually ends up being their dinner, like potatoes, cow beef, things of that nature. Not at that
level, no. Not at that level.
That's where private prisons win, because what they do is they're getting paid per inmate they house, and then the inmates are providing everything for themselves. So they're receiving money for nothing, just to house.
Yeah, that's a very good way of keeping the cost down while
Hey guys, I gotta run. I'll be back.
Indirectly earning more money for the company running it. But I guess there's a limit to it. I mean, I would imagine that not all prisoners would have something to do for work. I mean, I don't have no idea, but I can't imagine that a prison like that would have enough work for all inmates.
You'd be surprised.
Yeah,
really,
especially when it comes to.
We operate, most of our here in Virginia, most of our prisons aren't even your traditional you got the traditional supermaxes that you might see on TV with people locked down all the time. Most of our prisons are called road camps, and they're literally small.
Oh yeah, they have outside.
They're small work units where maybe the entire prison population's maybe 200 people, and most of them are working outside of the prison.
Yeah, in Denmark we have
for VDOT, farming.
In Denmark we don't have jails. The police stations do have detention cells, but there's no concept of jail here. But we do have two types of prisons. I'm strictly talking adults here. There's an open prison, and there is a standard prison. The open prisons are primarily used for let's see, the milder sentences, or prisoners who represents a low risk to society. I was young, I fucked up, I have to pay, I have to serve the time, but I have a job still, and I still want to keep it. So it's a kind of you ground your kids. They have to go to school, but they have to come right home from school every single day, and they have to stay inside. That's the open prison system. And then there's the standard prison system, where there we do of course have isolation cells for the people who need some that need some extra special care, so to speak. But there is no outside work, as in organized types of work for prisoners that I know of. That I do believe there is for the youth correctional facilities, where it's a kind of open prison, where she's retired now, but my mom has been a Salvation Army officer for quite some years now, and was a pastor at a Salvation Army Corps, running around different cities where needed. But she often had one or two people working in the kitchen with her that was assigned to her by the youth correctional system. I don't know how to translate it. And they had a what do you call those? Electronic ankle chains, or whatever they're called. Trackers, GPS trackers.
Tags.
Sorry?
Tags.
Yeah, tags on their ankles. And there was a base station at the church. So they did so. It's not exactly what do you call that? Community service, is that what you call it? If you're vandalizing, a public building, and you get a fine, but you also get, 10 hours of community service. This is not that's not what I'm talking about here. I'm talking about people who just need, that they're good kids. They just need to get out of the environment that they're moving towards. So, but they're on the verge of going to a real prison. So they get a choice of either going to a real prison, or take some X hours a week at, for example, a soup. No, it's not a soup kitchen, but you get the idea. Kitchen at the Salvation Army, helping out at the kitchen, or at an old folks home. Caring for people, just talking to them, things like that. And Jared's hard drive is working.
Yes, of course my hard drive's working, but here's the funny thing. Most of my computer stuff now is not being done on a hard drive. It's being done on an SSD.
That actually could be dangerous stuff.
What, the SSD?
Yeah, because those things will break down eventually.
Yes, that's also why I have 3 backups. I have an internal backup, an external backup, and a secondary external backup.
Yeah, an off-site backup, I hope.
That is the only level I haven't gone to yet.
Well, I don't know the US prices, but 50 gigabytes on iCloud isn't all that expensive. Is it $5 or $8 or something? 50 giga.
My phone's got more storage in that.
Yeah. Oh, but there's a different thing you can. If you have a friend that is like-minded, he or she is also well enough equipped in terms of the know-how on how computers work, and also has stuff that needs to be backed up. You both buy a NAS, a network hard drive, storage device, and you both serve as a cloud storage.
Interesting.
You have your friend's NAS on your network, and you have your NAS on his or her local network. You need to be in different buildings, preferably in different towns even.
Yeah.
And you can back up stuff there, because then if your house burns down, it doesn't matter if your computer and your external USB drive or whatever burns down, because it has been backed up off-site without paying for online cloud services.
Mm-hmm. So
that's how my brother does it.
So just my active archive data portion of my main SSD right now has 71 gigs of various pictures, movies, music, documents in there. And that's just the active one.
And that's all?
That's just one drive. That's not including my OS with other stuff in there, or my deep archive. My deep archive is over 150 gig used.
Is that all?
Dude, my photo storage, including the small parts of video I've also done, is around 200 gigabytes.
Basically the same.
That's just for photos and video alone, and I don't film all that much, except for back when I had a real job, and that most of that was stored on the company server.
Well, here's a good one for you. The archive for my channel is a terabyte by itself, and that's just what I put on the internet. I have currently 17 gigabytes in friggin' let's see, 8 and 6 and 3, 12, 15, sorry. Or no, 17. 17 gigabytes in external hard drives alone. And I'm starting to run short on drive space now.
That all seems rather small. My collection.
Are you sure that's gigabyte?
No, it's terabytes.
Yeah. Okay, I was getting ready to say.
Yeah, I was going to say my collection of photographs is 2 terabytes.
But then again, and you hang on, 2 terabytes, and you don't shoot in RAW.
I do shoot in RAW. That's why it's 2 terabytes.
Oh, sorry. I thought that our previous conversation was about you not using.
No,
just using JPEG. Okay, fair enough. My bad.
No, I kind of freaked out there.
Yeah, I mean, 2 terabytes of JPEG photos. Jeez.
Yeah,
that would be scary.
I've shot RAW since 2005.
Yeah.
I have about 16 terabytes of storage here. I'm only using 5.8 currently, so I've got a little bit to go.
Yeah. Well, I seriously hope, and this is a strong and very good advice for everybody listening. If you need storage, it doesn't matter if we're talking locally on your computer or a network attached storage device or a downright server or USB drive or whatever. And it also counts for your memory cards for video cameras and normal cameras. Don't use too big storage devices. If you do, I'm not talking redundancy here, but if you have let's say for photography, you strictly use 32 gigabyte memory cards. If you lose one, you lose 32 gigs of photos. Instead of having 4 8 gigabyte storage memory cards, if you lose one card, you only lose 8 gigs. That works with hard drives. If you have 2 big drives, you run the risk of losing everything if the drive decides to kill itself. That's where RAID backup becomes a good idea. Anything above RAID 2, at least. Not that I'm a network expert or anything, but yeah.
I actually considered doing a RAID 5 here when I built this machine. I just didn't have the ability. I just didn't have the money. And it wasn't to get it.
And another thing with RAID systems, you can use it for storage, but if you need very, very fast access, if you're let's just go wild here. If you're having fun editing 8K video or 4K 3D video, and you have a lot of material, using a 10 gigabit network and have a server with let's say RAID 6, you have a lot faster access speed than if you only have RAID 0 or just standard hard drive setup.
Oh,
as long as your phone is rugged enough.
My terabyte SSD, I can consistently get 2.7 to 3.1 gigabyte per second read-write speeds. I love it.
My computers are way too old, but I don't have the money to get them updated anywhere near in the near future at all. But
all right,
something that I would suggest that you could get that would increase that speed tenfold easily. I just can't remember exactly what it's called. EMMC or something like that.
That's actually the. Actually, hang on.
It doesn't look like a hard drive size, but it's. I can't remember what the hell it's called.
I'm actually just pulling up everything from the internal SSD I have, because it is not your typical.
I was going to say, isn't eSSD basically an SD card configured to work internally as a drive?
Yeah, it actually looks like a RAM stick.
Yeah.
And certainly there's a huge bottleneck with today's standard SSD storage devices, because they run on either, and yes, I have actually seen one, I think it was 64 gigabyte SSD IDE. I shouldn't say drive, but there I went. But even the fastest SATA interface you can get is a huge bottleneck for today's storage devices.
Yes, they are. That's not the issue.
I don't know, because my SATA the bottleneck actually, well, granted, I got a drive that is actually clocked to the same as the Max SATA line, so I'm not getting an actual bottleneck between the storage device and the bus. And taking a look at it, my internal SSD, which looks like a freaking memory stick, it's the NVMe M.2 form factor. Which is why I'm getting 3 gig consistently.
Well, an M.2 may or may not be SATA. I mean, some of them use an internal SATA.
Yeah, some are SATA
controller, but some of them aren't.
Yeah, some are SATA, some aren't. My internal one, my internal M.2 is not SATA, but my other drive is. And on that one, I'm with the SSD that's there, I'm still getting close to the same throughput. Not exactly the same. It is a little bit slower because SATA is a little bit slower than the NVMe, but
yeah. I don't know what the connector, the type of connector is called that you use for NVMe's, but I do know that connector that you use for that it isn't necessarily. I mean, it has. You can use different types of interfaces on that. It could, in fact, it could still be SATA, actually, even though you're using.
Actually, do you have the live stream open? Because what I will do is I'll actually pull it up, and it actually in the manual for my drive, it shows the difference between the SATA and the NVMe.
Mm-hmm. If you do, you should probably do it in the slideshow window because the Hangout window is very small.
No, I know, and that's where when I screen share, those switch. So yeah, I got this. It's just I wanted to make because if I just screen share it, you guys would see it, but the audience wouldn't. So that's why I'm actually just gonna drag it over and show it that way. I just need to pull up the manual first. Boom, there it is.
And for those of you who are are looking like question marks in the faces, having no idea whatsoever what we're talking about, I'm going to post a YouTube video in the live chat to just to give you an idea of what NVMe is. It's from a channel called Explaining Computers. He's a British guy. But don't hold.
I've seen that video already.
Yeah.
He's actually familiar. I mean.
So unfortunately, the manual is not available, but this is the one that I have. As you see, the connector, it's split between 5 pins and 50 something. There's 5 pins on this lower part of the connector, and then 50 something there.
I'll just go full screen on this guy here.
Yeah.
5 pin. What do you mean 5 pins? There's a whole lot more than 5.
So, no, that's what I'm saying. So your NVMe is set up this way, where there's 2 groups of pins. You have 1 to 57, and then 5 more on the end. Your SATA, from top down, goes 6 pins, 30-something pins, and then 5 pins. So your SATA has a second break in here. That is the physical difference. But SATA, because of that, part of that is because it has a shorter bandwidth capability for data transfers.
And I thought that my 20 megabyte hard drive on the sidecar of my Amiga 500 was fast as hell.
Oh yeah.
Hey, I'm
all the way, bud.
Hey, in 1993, I had a 2 terabyte hard drive. It was massive. I would never use up that space. Or 2 gigabyte hard drive.
2 gig, yeah.
And now I recall a guy called Dave Jones, an Australian electronics engineer. He has a channel called EV Blog. He showed the world's most expensive hard drive. I think it was an IBM hard drive from a bank some many years ago. It weighed a ton. Can't remember how many kilos, but it was about I don't know, more than 50 kilos.
The drive the drive itself was what was it? It was 20 megabytes, and it was the size of a large coffee table, and it weighed upwards of 15 kilos.
Now you're having me thinking of a subrass.
What?
It's a subrass. It was the hard drive on our busy one fire control system. It was about. It was. Do you know? Have you ever seen a refrigerator?
Yeah.
It's about the size of a refrigerator. It had 2 hard drives in it, about 100 megabytes each.
Or I can safely say that analogy does not work because refrigerators in the U.S. compared to standard fridge from Europe is vastly different. I mean, your idea of a low power refrigerator is about 500 watts.
And
yeah, that wasn't that's not what? That's not low power.
Low power is by definition is below what?
Yeah, lower than the
know?
previous one.
Well, no, low power. The actual term low power is it actually does not use watts as the rating. They actually use voltage. So a low power system is below is below 50 volts. Doesn't matter if it's AC or DC. If it is below 50 volts, it is considered a low power system, and you can safely work on it without tagging out the electrical input.
Yeah, because that's totally logical.
Oh yeah.
Do that anyway. That's beside the point.
Yeah. Dang.
Yeah, because it's not like you want to get zapped by 50 volts at several amps, is it?
That would never happen.
No, not a chance. Of course, if you touch the temperature, even at that rate, you're still going to get burned.
If it's anything like touching a what do you guys call that in America? An electric fence, for dairy cows, and the generator for that is 4 times as powerful as it should be for that particular fence, and just not just grabbing on hard to the wire, but just touching it with your finger, just lightly with your finger. If it's worse than that, I don't see the problem. And
I don't know.
contrary to many people, what they think,
doing the 6-cycle shuffle.
No, it would be DC. Well, yeah, with that drive thing.
In which case, it's going to jump out and beat you to death.
Hey guys, we have an Air Force guy in the chat now. Drafting Master.
What?
Oh,
good.
We have Air Force. He should get
a lower percentage of Navy guys. That's cool.
Wait. Air Force, do we have enough pillows for him? We'd hate to get him.
What's wrong with a bar of soap in a sock?
No.
Wow.
I wouldn't want him to get Naga hide, Naga ass from sitting down too long chatting with us.
I think I might be able to dig up. A couple growths for him.
By the way, yeah.
The question: Do we have enough space to deploy all those just so he can be comfy?
That is true.
Be comfy.
Well, by the way, Drafting Master, since you are a vet, if you want in to this or a future one, or even just want in on the Discord to fire your own shots at the other branches, let me know. My email is in the description, so if you shoot me a message, I'll get you the link to the Discord.
And we sure need more people to beat down on the water boys.
Hey, the more the merrier. Most hangouts are capped at 10 people. We can have more than that in this platform that I use, which, you know what, the more varied the panel, the better.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's right. We do have a lot of people. We've got one Royal Air Force and one I'm not even sure. Norwegian Army. Kind of.
What?
We tend to get a little
Master. Drafting Master, are you British?
You know, I gotta read this one out because it's just too fucking funny for those who aren't watching. Hey, we do not need pillows. We just need our teddy bears, and we are fine. We are tough.
What about your golf clubs? Do you need your golf clubs too? I mean,
no.
Gotta have those weapons.
If we break out the golf clubs, he's going to use it to beat up. He's going to use it to beat up the 100 Paddingtons we've got over here.
No, those teddy bears are worth good money if they're old enough.
Yes, I know. Actually, you know what? To get teddy bears, I have to raid my kid's stash.
Yeah. Keep saying that to yourself.
I've got what, about 20? I've got about 30 or so Build-A-Bears upstairs.
Is that still a thing, by the way? Well, yes. I know that there's one single shop last time I not checked, but walked past it in Copenhagen, in Denmark. But are they really still a thing? I mean, it's
really still a thing.
As a matter of fact, here recently they decided to put forward a promotion where you could get anything you wanted out of that place at $1 per year of a kid's age up to, I think it was age 14 or 15, and they had to shut it down actually they shut it down after the first day because it just turned into, holy crap, there's a line 5 miles long in most places.
Yeah, they ran that same promotion here in the UK too, with the same result.
Yeah, they definitely got people's attention. That was for damn sure.
Man,
there was over here at Tacoma Mall. There was one couple that had just had triplets, like 3 days before, and they actually walked out without having to pay a freaking dime. And oh man, the people behind them were pissed.
Well, of course.
But yeah,
now,
I'm sure that the owners of that concept are rich as, rich. I mean,
you want to know why simple... You want to know why the people behind them were pissed?
Well,
they took the last 3 shelves that the place had to shut down right after they left. They left. They closed. And the gates were closed. They had nothing left to sell.
Well, I thought that would be a good thing. Not having anything more to sell. I mean, when closing down a shop.
Well, you have to understand that the mall insists that they open at 9 o'clock. These people walked out of there at 5 minutes after noon. They were open for a whole 3 hours.
Wow.
So I wonder how big of a storage area that they were granted, whether they were able to actually fill it up too.
You know what? I couldn't tell you, but if I remember correctly, most of the shops in that particular mall have no storage space at all. The ones that do, they're the ones that do, the ones that create storage space for themselves, are the size of postage stamps.
Huh? Oh.
That's
very, very tiny.
Yeah, they're very small. It's a little. It's mildly hyperbolic. You ever notice when you're walking a great big parking lot that it seems like it goes on forever, but if you're trying to find a parking space, it seems to automatically reduce itself to the side to like 3 slots, and all of them are full.
That's the same thing. That's the same psychological problem that you have if you're having a great time. Time seems to go past really fast, but if you're bored, not so much.
It drags. What do we want to move on to our other topic and like really start digging into it, or do we want to keep going?
The next topic is that's going to be.
Let's talk about Carrot Head.
Yeah.
Let's not say we did.
Oh no!
Carrot Top.
Oh no! We have to talk about this one because honestly, like I said, who better to talk about this subject than those of us on the panel and some of the others who are eligible to join. So
those of us who have served. That skeptic. Let's go.
So with that being said, recently, the wonderful President of the United States made some choice comments while at a summit where Russian President Vladimir Putin was also there. So here's the question. Were those statements treasonous or not? Go.
Answer no.
No.
Answer no. See, here's the thing. You have to take into account some level of diplomacy when making those statements. Number two, we do that to them. They do that to us. Everybody does that shit to everyone. And if you don't catch the hacker in the act, chances are you'll never track his ass down. That's just the short. That's the long, the short, and the ugly. The Chinese it was the Chinese during Obama's second term that were hacking our shit. And during the election, during the elections at the end of Obama's reign, we had quite a lot. We had quite a lot of that kind of thing going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. Remember, folks, this is the same intelligence organs that told everyone and their brother that Iraq had weapons of mass destruction. They lied to us. And in fact, I expect that same thing to go on with the whole Russia influenced our elections thing. They hacked the DNC. Well, okay, yes, I expect that they did. But the chances of it being state sponsored is low at best. The thing they don't want is for their government to actually be complicit in such a thing, because that would be absolutely terrible for diplomatic relations. Just remember, folks, wars happen when diplomats fuck up.
I can see that I'm not the only one being ignorant in terms of what the biggest president ever said.
Not just the biggest, I'm the best. I'm the best there ever been. I'm the best there's ever gonna be. I'm just gonna make this office just huge. We're just gonna do everything huge. We're just gonna blow it all out of the water.
Oh, we all know the biggest president was Taft.
Oh,
the biggest inauguration turn up ever, and blah blah blah.
When William, what was it? Is it William Taft? Yeah, Taft became president. They had they had to change out the bathtubs because he was a little bit too big for them, amongst other things.
Wow. I don't remember that bit, but for those who are curious, I did grab the first article about the meeting in particular in the live chat.
So here's a question for you. What is the first thing they do? What's the first thing they in the White House that gets replaced when a new president comes into office?
The curtains.
The decor, yeah.
No.
That's the first thing that came into my mind, man.
Well, the decor is actually standardized. There's not much variance in the actual decor of the White House between one president and the next. The residents can get some makeover, but public areas,
that's
the
what I
Oval
was
Office,
thinking about there.
other such places, they don't get a makeover. So
Trump should get a makeover, though.
Yeah. Well, I doubt we're going to see that before 2024. So,
he's totally getting reelected. I'm sure of it.
Well, yeah. If the left keeps going the way they are, they are currently campaigning for him. So come on,
he has the money to buy the votes for it. Yeah.
Another guess. I'll give you 2 more guesses, guys. Come on, you can do this.
I have no clue. Well, no, wait. Yeah. You said policy. No, you didn't say policy. You said office. Okay, so it's not getting rid of Obamacare then.
No, I'm not talking about policy. I'm talking about the first thing that gets replaced in the White House. The very first thing.
Well, the staff, I would guess.
No.
Actually, there is a lot of carryover amongst the actual staff. It's the actual advisors, the cabinet, where things do go through wholesale changes between administrations.
But that's not the first thing that gets replaced.
Nope.
I'll give you guys. I'll give you sailors.
Security codes.
Sailors in the panel a hint. It's the same thing they replace on a ship when a new captain comes on board. No.
Yeah, not a vibrator. No. Hey, all I heard was a vibrator.
The Oval Office chair.
Or would that be a haptic motor?
What was that? What was that? I heard something.
The Oval Office chair.
Exactly right. They replaced the chair. Every chair, the chair for each president is fitted and ordered. First thing, the very first thing, when the transition starts, and they install it the day he takes the oath of office. Without fail.
I have no idea about the history of that, but it sounds like a totally benign tradition.
Well, it's not necessarily completely benign, because what they do is they armor those fucking chairs. They armor them.
No.
Wait, you didn't say order, you said armor. Did you say armor, not order?
Armor. As in, if somebody decides they want to put a bullet through the office window he's got his back to, chances of him actually getting killed go way the fuck down.
Jay, are you laughing about the same thing I saw?
Yeah, the dental picture? Yeah.
Which one?
No. So the dental picture came by. The difference between the Air Force and Navy dentists.
Yeah, that one, yeah.
And Drafting Master's response, you know why that dental pic is true? Us USAF members have to make sure we look our best for pictures.
I don't know about you, but actually we had some pretty damn good dentists on the tender. So
I don't know, the ones at the NTC they sucked a lot.
I don't know, mine at RTC was pretty great.
Oh no! At RTC, when I had my wisdom teeth removed, I kept count of how many times they had to stick me for the Novocaine. I stopped counting at 35.
Ow!
Oh, hang on. When you, I just need a clarification. Stick that you mean didn't give you one?
No.
Inject.
Needles that they pushed into his gums and jaw in order to numb it
Okay,
out,
fair
so,
enough.
so he didn't feel
Yeah, each
going
So
grabbing.
you don't use atropine for that?
No, they do not do general anesthesia for wisdom teeth in boot camp because they want you to be able to walk back to the barracks after you're done.
They didn't.
And drool all over your pillow.
They left mine in boot camp. They didn't take mine out till actually I was getting ready to leave Grodd.
Come on,
Drafting Master, like this one right here is perfect, right? The tattoo one's the perfect picture, right?
Oh, the tattoo one is a beautiful picture.
But getting anesthetics for dental care, that has nothing to do with being able to walk away.
Oh no! If you are knocked out, you would have to have a guide to make sure you don't pass out again on the way back.
Yeah,
because they don't really
out.
wait. They want to get you done and out of there so quick. They're like, nope, we're going to do local. So they literally take towels and strap your head down so you can't see. They thankfully gave you headphones to listen to something. I can't even fucking remember what. But then they start injecting your gums with Novocaine. And they got to like 20 and they started working it. They were like, oh yeah, just let us know if you feel it. And it's this apparatus. So you can't really talk. So it's just, oh, you need more? Or, oh, you need more? Uh-huh. Okay, here we go.
I only got about 8 for mine. So it was.
That doesn't make any sense to me.
It was in sub-school.
That just doesn't make any sense. I mean, getting...
I want to know how we got from Trump treason, which is actually not...
from computer... from computer storage to Trump.
No.
Well, we're getting around it today.
All right, I'm back, fellas.
Oh, you missed some good stuff this time.
What did I miss, man? Please fill me in. I'd love to know.
Getting stoned on Novocaine, apparently.
Yeah.
Hey, I will do it. Say I won't.
I tell you what, though, after those wisdom teeth came out, though, I was on Tylox for the next 4 days.
Oh, I
don't remember much of it, but I was on Tylox for the past 4 days.
I had an amazing experience having my teeth pulled out right before I left out of the military. This tiny lieutenant lady walks in, blonde hair, and literally takes out a tool and puts it down between my teeth and my gum and starts using my chin as a leverage point to pry out my wisdom teeth. And she was so beautiful, I didn't feel none of it. It was amazing.
Yeah. Oh, well, so here's the thing. So, heat shield...
Repeat everything after tool.
What? Oh, everything after... Oh, I said... Oh, wait. Did you want to hear it because I faded out?
No.
Or because it was
I went to dreamy, sexy time land here.
Yes.
So, no.
But, so... Heat shield in the chat said 35 Novo shots. That's quite a bit beyond the limits I'm aware of. It's like, yeah. So, have you guys heard the old wives' tale that redheads have an inherent resistance to painkillers and other medications?
No, I've never.
I do have that. Yes.
Yeah.
I do have that, except for fentanyl. That will kill me, but everything else, yes.
Yeah.
Are you a ginger?
I am part ginger.
Yep, I'm a redhead.
Do you have freckles?
Oh yeah.
Did you Photoshop the freckles out of your profile pic?
Yes,
no,
he did.
You have no soul. You have no soul.
Okay.
No. He has more than one soul because of who.
I'm wearing shoes.
No. A ginger gets a freckle for every soul they steal.
Yep. Okay.
Oh my God, that's right.
So trivia. Okay, another trivia question. Going back to presidents. Okay. They say that we're having a call for impeaching President Trump. Now I'm pretty sure they don't mean what that word actually means.
Yeah. On what grounds?
The thing with the Putin. That's what they're trying. They're trying to declare that a high crime or misdemeanor.
What did he do? What did he do that was so wrong?
he wasn't backing.
Go ahead.
He wasn't backing our intelligence people, according to the
those
press, the
people
media.
lie.
Exactly.
Okay.
And
so here's the question: is the impeachment, the actual conviction and removal from office, or is it similar to the fuck was I had the word a minute ago. An indictment.
Well, now I know that option isn't real.
Impeachment's just an indictment. It's not actual
Right.
removal.
Absolutely correct. That means that he goes to trial before the Senate, who then by a simple majority vote can convict or not.
And here I thought it had to do with fruits.
I want to know who do they think is qualified to be a better president than him? I'm not saying there is one out there. Okay, they're all equally.
Well, maybe
stupid.
not one of the.
Well, no, the one they wanted was Hillary.
Oh, fuck
And
that bitch.
If it wasn't Hillary, it would be nobody.
See, I'm not technically opposed
speaking-
to the. I'm not technically opposed to Trump being removed from office. You know, not necessarily in this case, but I'm not necessarily opposed for Trump being moved from office per se. But if they remove him, that just makes Pence president.
Oh
So-
yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
hell no, no. He's a
know what
Christian,
Mike-
I know,
you know
but
what
is,
Mike
I
Pence
think
is?
he's even a creationist too,
Oh,
if I'm
Lord.
not mistaken there.
You know what Mike Pence is? Honestly,
An
do you know
asshole?
what Mike Pence is? No, he's an insurance policy. Everybody knows what Pence is, who Pence is, and what he's capable of. And
So nobody
nobody-
fucks with Trump.
and nobody's going to be willing to impeach Trump as long as
was
Pence is vice president.
It was like Dick Cheney under George W. Bush.
The problem I'm having
Exactly right.
understanding why they want him out. I'm not the biggest. I don't get into politics. The only politics I'll get into is the socialist politics, like social justice, socialism. I'll talk about that all day because I completely disagree with discrimination against anybody as being a method of non-discrimination for someone else. So because it's not right. It's just it's like saying, well, he hit me. Well, you hit me first. Well, when does that stop?
Equality of equality. It's equality of opportunity under the law, which actually the United States has had for a very long time.
Right. So,
Okay.
but
That's what's supposed to happen.
But really, like, what has Trump done? We have actually established more of a world dominance under him than we did under Barack Obama.
Yep.
You know, he hasn't invoked the what is it, the right that he has, that a president has, to not talk because he would
Self-incrimination.
He doesn't
the
have the
fifth.
ability to do that.
no, well, it's not self-incrimination because that's afforded to all citizens, but the president has a specific thing that he can invoke to keep him from having to answer questions.
Presidential privilege.
Yeah, it's presidential privilege under the guidance of national security.
Yep.
Well, Barack Obama invoked that that right that presidents have more than any president in the history of the United States, and it's just so you don't have to self-incriminate yourself or incriminate others through having to answer questions, like formal questions. We're not talking about questions from the press. Trump shows you can just ignore those people, but we're talking about Senate inquiries and other things where you have to speak in a formal setting. He has literally invoked his presidential right not to have to answer questions. And that's like something that even Bill Clinton didn't do it as much as him. Like Barack was a horrible president. We're going to really replace him. We're going to replace Trump with Hillary Clinton, the fucking probably greatest mass murderer in our, recent times.
Here's the
She
part.
actually did get more votes than Trump did.
Yes, but she got them in the wrong
for
places.
some weird reason.
Yeah. Well, we have
which is a system that I do not understand one bit.
Well, here, let me explain it to you, Bo. It's real easy. Let's say you took the most populated city in America, which is, I believe, LA. It's either LA or New York. Anyway, you take those two cities, and let's say you put only Hillary Clinton supporters. All Hillary Clinton would have to do is go run campaigns in that city, New York City, Houston. If she can win those three cities, she wins the entire election. So you can't have the ideas of the majority of the population, like where like we dense up, like where we condense into population cells basically, and let those people decide what's best for the people that live out in Idaho. So what we do is we break them up based on well, I don't know how we do it now, but the way it was originally done is it was
based on representation. You get one electoral vote for every member of the House.
It's a member of every member of Congress. That includes the Senate too.
Yep.
No.
So how do smaller states like Ohio and all them have more electoral colleges than LA?
Well, here's the thing.
Or than California, I'm sorry.
Well, they don't actually.
No, California has one of the highest.
Okay, well, I mean, and I'm just saying that there's places out there that have more population. There's places that have more population than the original states like Pennsylvania, Ohio, those little Bible Belt states. I believe, in my opinion, I think those people are overrepresented. Like, I would like to see a more balancing of the electoral colleges, but there's no way you can do away with it and still maintain what you would consider a multi-level democracy. Basically, one where you vote for who votes, you know. So you can have more people vote. You could have a higher percentage of people voting for one person, but because they're coming all from the same state, that just means that they're not representing the majority of the population. So they can still win with the majority of the people without winning the majority of the states, the electoral colleges.
But that's just a weird thing. I mean, if you are going to take a vote on who is going to be the head of the country, POTUS, in other words, it should be on what, based on, in my opinion anyway, on one thing only: the people's vote, nothing else. Well, I mean, we have the same bit of the same thing in Denmark. I don't know the system at all, but it's not all down to votes. There is something going on there as well with I don't know how it works, but I mean, I hear what you're saying, team, but that thing, I mean,
I'll pull up another thing.
We've got kind of a weird system just because it's kind of a mix of.
That's because we have a federal system. You guys have a parliamentary system over there, right? Well,
yeah, and your country is divided. It is not a unified country.
Well, here's the question.
I mean, so is England, and they do parliamentary.
When was the last time they voted directly for a prime minister?
Never.
That's the difference.
No, wait a minute. No, I can vote. No, I can vote. Let's see. I can vote for either a person to be prime minister or the party. And,
we had the same thing.
I'm not sure how it works. I think that's, yes, I do believe we can vote for the person, for a specific person to be prime minister.
Well, we vote for.
I may be wrong, but
the president of the United States actually is voted for directly by the people. Then the electoral college is there to make sure that no number of people can completely disrupt everything. Because as Team Skeptic says, if you could get the votes for any group of major cities, then you could win just on. Then you could actually win just on the cities, and everybody else is ass out. Now, and that's why we have an electoral college.
Yeah, but the thing is, the president he does not have direct influence on the different states. He is the head of the country, not individual states or counties or whatever. Yeah. So it should be based on the amount of votes that person gets and nothing else.
How do you present my screen? Because I have something I'd like to show.
Realistically, our federal government is representing the states, not necessarily the people. That's the thing.
Well, there's more to it. Here's the flip side of that.
It's sort of a mix, really. But
if Hillary Clinton had actually won, then the Russian war would already be a thing. Because
don't get me wrong. I did not by any means want Hillary Clinton to be the president, but you have to choose the lesser of two evils.
Yep.
So check out my screen, Bo. Do you see the It's a population density map. Okay. So the population density for the United States is primarily on the East Coast. If it was done the way you said that it should be done, then these would be the policymakers would be on the East Coast.
No,
okay, so everything that's a policy on the East Coast would be then implemented as a national policy on the West Coast. This is how we divide up how equally we're represented per region, not per population. And so the population is considered in that based on the number of electoral colleges that are there, but it's not. It's just to ensure that the entirety of the country gets represented. Even if it's not by the majority vote, sometimes you can have places that are more populated that vote all one way, but that's still not enough to represent what the lesser vote represents as far as, you know, the totality of the population.
Well, I'm still trying to grasp at this. I mean, it's still not.
Okay, so think about it this way, Bo. Keeping this map that Skeptic is using up here. So if it was purely popular vote, every national election would be decided by the metropolitan areas of New York City, Boston.
Well, yeah, I do get that part.
It's only like six metropolitan cities is all that it would take to win any national eletion. That is it.
Yes, but the winner of that election will not be granted specific power or responsibility for those areas.
No. But he's a representative of the country, not of the population. So you have to be representative of the people that are in Idaho.
But since the president won't have direct influence on,
but he does. He's still a policymaker. It's not he can, like Obamacare, for instance. You know, Obama and his camp are the one who put forward the Obamacare health plan. So Trump does have policy power. It still has to go through a voting process of whether it's a voting process through the population or through.
Also, think of it called an executive order.
Yeah, executive orders
require congressional approval. Congress can reverse an executive order at their leisure, but generally that doesn't happen.
And that's what happened with the immigration ban, correct? That's an executive order that they're now debating.
As was the order to stop separating families. Which Congress is currently trying to squirrel with. This gets it goes both ways here.
Yeah, see, but the problem with American politics. Go ahead. You've been waiting, Eric. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was saying another thing. Trying to think about it. Think of it more like the EU as opposed to like your individual country, because really, in a very much a true sense, like when you're looking at that map of the U.S. there, okay, each one of those little shapes there, those states, are little republics. Yeah. And the federal government's representing the whole of those states, not necessarily just the high population ones.
Or the population itself. Or the population itself. It's a representative of the actual government.
We are, in fact, a republic. We're a federal republic, and and just as a little side note, federal law supersedes state law in all cases.
Ha ha! I have to laugh about that. Laugh at that.
Yeah. It's a funny thing.
I mean, how often have we not seen on television and so on, where I think we talked. I talked about that this last Friday actually, about medical marijuana.
Yep.
You're in a state where that is legal. You have a prescription for marijuana, and you get your prescription, and then you cross the state border to a family, whatever, and then you suddenly get arrested because it's not legal there.
Yeah.
Right.
What the fuck is going on there?
Well, okay. So,
I mean, it's retarded. If the state, but if the state says okay, or whatever it's actually called, I'm not sure about it, but okay, in this country it is now legal to blah 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 blah, then it should be legal in the whole country.
But the thing is,
but because the USA is not a country but a bunch of states that yeah, and even there's even one of the states trying maybe to get out of the country or whatever you want to call it, get out of the
secession. And by the way,
it's
by the way, the likeness, the EU is actually based on the U.S. model except the part where the people that are actually in charge of the EU are an appointed bureaucracy rather than actually elected officials. So how about
actually
we watch
doing something good? Yeah. Oh, I know. I mean,
actually, in a way, that's
90s,
how the U.S. used to be.
yeah, I remember in the 90s where the EU had this decree or whatever it's called that cucumbers that were to be sold in a EU country in a supermarket or whatever is not allowed to have a curve of a certain amount. If it did, it was not to be sold as a cucumber.
What would it be sold as? A sex toy?
You wouldn't be allowed to sell it to the consumers.
That's so weird.
That
The
kind
fucking
of
cucumber.
stupid.
The fucking cucumber.
I mean,
Eat it.
that's okay. I know this is a terrible example because that's one of the worst things I've ever heard. It's harmless, but it's retarded that they waste their time, thereby money, on shit like that.
Oh, we have the same thing. But back to your federal marijuana stuff, there was an actual, a couple of years ago, there was an actual big time fight going on between the state of California and the federal government, where the federal government was planning on going into California and raiding marijuana dispensaries.
Oh, yeah, the stores. Yeah, exactly.
And the state
that's one of the stories I was thinking about.
The state said that it is within their right to fight the federal government coming in, whether it meant by physical confrontation or by just legislation. And so the government didn't go in because they didn't want that problem. That's where the whole idea of California seceding from the United States came from. Now, the problem with California seceding from the United States is that the only state that's allowed by law to secede from the United States is Texas. If California was to try to secede and become its own country, they would be met with full force military tactics, and that would immediately end any secession attempts.
Well, even if we allowed them to secede and become their own nation, we would literally just take all of our military assets that are in the state and put them in Nevada and Oregon, and California would shrivel up economically and just die.
Yeah, we'd put so many tariffs on inbound products going there. There's so many different things. California is a fucking they're a narcissistic state. Like everybody there thinks that they're totally above the average American.
Yeah, but that would really be a bad idea because you would have to support the local farmers economically, because otherwise they would go under.
And they can't because of like shit like the Santa Ana winds and the fact that the Mojave Desert covers like half the state. There's a whole bunch of reasons that they don't think about.
They have trouble even keeping the lights on.
Yeah, literally, they would have to see San Francisco, Oakland, LA, and San Diego. All three of those cities would become the country. The rest of it, they'd say, "Oh, you guys can keep the rest."
Here is the fun part. California is most of California is essentially one big desert, and in fact, Los Angeles, San Diego, those places were all desert before they started importing water from Oregon and Washington. If they became their own country, that shit would end.
Immediately.
Immediately.
And they already have enough water issues as it is without that. But
that's what I'm saying. There's a narcissistic way of thinking in California. I've lived there like 3 different times. I mean, I know when you go in there, it's like everybody there is better than you. Yeah. At least you can tell that they think that.
Hey, Team Skeptic, do you mind if I show a couple different electoral maps?
Yeah, my bad. I didn't even know that I was doing.
And in the meantime, we have an army invasion going on. Hey, Drag, how you doing?
Woohoo! Army of one, right?
Everyone else in here is Navy?
Most of us.
Not everybody.
Oh, okay. So there's only 3.5 real men here.
Some of us are real soldiers. Yes.
Well, you know what's coming.
Let's have a Jared live B channel for the non-Navy people.
Again, for the real soldiers. Yeah, good idea.
Okay, hey, Bo. I want to show you like how like the country can vote fairly evenly and still come out with different winners. Like here's the 1992 election with Bill Clinton versus George H.W. Bush. You can see that a lot of the more democratic states here in the blue, which I'm really surprised about Louisiana on that one.
Yeah.
But you see all the red is in the more rural areas for the most part. You got a few outliers like Iowa and Missouri here. But most of the more conservative
and South
states,
and North Dakota too, right?
No, they're
that's
well,
not,
yeah,
those are reds.
Yeah,
good.
The
Those
red
are
states are
commies. Yeah. Okay. Sorry.
But anyways, now I'm going to go back to the election of 1980, the first year of Reagan.
Hello.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
And all right, and you think this is bad? The 1984 election, the electoral map. These two are red. Or the
Go ahead and point out the popular vote. Look how close look how much of the country by land voted towards what was that, Bush?
Yeah,
this one here is actually
was Reagan.
But look at the popular vote. The popular vote was still only 50 to 47. There's only a 3% marginal difference. But yet,
41,
look.
Yeah.
Oh, does it say 41? It looks like
it's 41.
41.
Okay, so 9%, still only 9%. Even we'll just say 10 if you add the other people that didn't vote for Reagan. So about 10% of the population that voted didn't vote for Reagan, and still look how it turned out. You know, it's still almost a blanket of Reagan all the way across.
But the point of the Electoral College is, in a vast majority of the cases, to allow the states that are basically, minus Texas here, where I'm drawing my lines, are these areas here where there's not a lot of population center and there's not a large amount of representation to be able to participate in the vote. Because you have regions
part of the country that feeds the rest of the country.
Yeah.
Yeah, for real.
But the problem with the divisiveness of the United States right now being so dramatic the way it is you have your liberal side here, California, Washington, Oregon, and Hawaii, and you probably throw Nevada in there too. Can outpoll most of the country, most of the Midwest here, and then you also have the Northeast here that can outpoll half the country too. If you can get the regions down right, you can figure out whether or not the Midwest is actually going to make any difference or not. And that's what they were doing in this last election, is they were saying that Hillary had so much of the outlying area, but she didn't have all of like this section here, down here, and she didn't have hardly any of this at all when when they were originally polling for it ahead of time.
Do you have how the electoral college is divvied up in the Trump election?
Just saying.
For 2016, should have.
Oh yeah.
Boom, right there.
God. And see, he lost the popular vote, Bo. And look at the blanket that he has, and he lost the popular vote.
Granted, he didn't lose the popular vote by much, but it was a measured amount.
Yeah. So
what was going on with Arizona there?
It was 6 million votes for 185 million people.
So at the time, at the time that this image was presented, Arizona, Michigan, and New Hampshire were still being contested.
Now I'm gonna ask you a second, Bo. If you only could see that map right there, which one did you think won, red or blue?
Yeah, I'll go back to this one right here.
What color? If you had to say one color could represent the population of that country, which color would you say looking at that map?
Well, that would be the Communist Party.
Okay, so the commies won that one. So see, that's how our system is set up. So that primarily, if you're covering most of the country, and it still is weighted, so you don't have to cover most of the country to still win. But if you cover most of the country, you are going to be the person who represents the American people as a whole more than the opponent. Jesus, look at that one.
That's 1984.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is one of the big reasons why I don't touch politics.
I don't either, because they're all fake. All these people are promise makers. That they only say promise because they want you to fucking agree with them, and then they give up.
I just thought of something. Yeah, I just thought of something. The red versus blue theme
Halo.
that you always use on elections, presidential elections.
Yep.
Yeah.
When did that start? The coloring. I mean, during the Cold War, I would imagine that they didn't use the red color.
Well,
No, this was during the Cold War. You're looking right there.
Really?
Yeah.
1984.
Well, I can answer your question. It's because the two actually highly contrast with one another.
Do
I know.
that's a good one.
I'm sure that somebody would go below the belt from the Democratic Party and try to use the Russians are coming theme.
Now,
Hey,
Who
who is that?
What the hell is
This is
fuck?
Kennedy versus Nixon.
Oklahoma?
But
Look
you
at
see
that.
here in Oklahoma? Oklahoma is one of
Is there a
one of the
state within a
biggest
state or something?
No.
Proportional.
proportional.
They are
voting.
proportional with their electoral college. So the population is divided, the popular vote in that state is divided up amongst the electoral college. If you get over a certain threshold, your party can still vote for, or your one of your electoral college votes can still vote for the president, and all the rest can go to the other candidate.
But see, here's the other side of it. Electors can actually prove to be faithless and vote for anybody they care to.
Well,
However, there's the vote stands.
wait, don't go
but
off of
there's
that one.
Usually, but you're probably finished in terms of being part of a political party.
Well, actually get even harsher than that, because you could have like technically, if you could have a faithless, like there are some states where it's actually a crime to do that. The vote still stands, but that elector is going to spend time in jail.
I actually have a.
Is that really how it works?
Now,
In some states,
I know
it's not
that this
each state has their own laws regarding that. So
yeah, I know that this is a completely different topic that I would probably should try and find out someday on why the hell that is the way it works, where you have to register to be able to vote. But in Denmark, it doesn't matter if it's at the what do you call it? The what's that called? Not rural area. Let's call it county. At the county elections or the state elections or the regardless of what type. In Denmark, all the types of elections we have, if I don't vote, my vote goes to the standing party.
The incumbent.
Yeah, is that the same in the U.S.?
No. If you don't vote,
That would be horrible.
no one gets anything.
Yeah,
And
that would be horrible
Oh,
for this
I like that
country.
better. Okay, because that's one of the things I really don't get in Denmark.
But
Why the hell does it feel like that?
but at the same time, if no one votes for either candidate in a particular segment of the ballot, the incumbent remains if the incumbent is on the ballot.
Okay, so if he's on the ballot, okay. So what if he's not on the ballot? Does it stay within the party? And what if he's a independent?
It goes to the court. It becomes illegal. It becomes a legal question at that point.
That's exactly how George W. Bush won the first time.
Oh, that's not what I wanted.
Because the Supreme Court said nope.
But what I wanted to point out on that previous one that you had up there, Jay.
Just a second.
So if you look, Oklahoma split. It was predominantly for Nixon, but had the one vote for Kennedy. If you look at Alabama also could have ended up split as well. It was split there. It's just they all ended up voting for Kennedy in the end.
Hold on. Go look at Alabama and tell me how many electoral votes they get. Did they get 5 or did
11.
they get 11? Okay, so what it probably ended up being was...
They haven't always had that many.
No, they haven't.
If you look there, Washington had 9, as opposed to what is it, 11 now.
Yeah, and Alabama is down to 9 electoral votes, or back to 10. I mean that's the thing. The number of electoral votes can change from presidential cycle to cycle because it is based on representation, which is based off population.
Did y'all happen to notice that in that Kennedy election, Texas voted blue and California voted red?
Yeah.
Yep.
That's fucking awesome.
That's because Nixon's from California.
Everywhere every time California votes for somebody, just go bet the opposite way. Except for Reagan.
Just to even it out.
So unless it's a TV star, like a movie star running for president, then you want to vote with California.
So, Bo, this is a real failure of the electoral college system right here. This is the 1824 election between John Quincy Adams, Andrew Jackson, Crawford, and Henry Clay. Henry Clay was the Speaker of the House. So the way that the electoral college works is if there is no clear winner, nobody gets the set amount of electoral votes. The last place person gets pulled out, and then it goes to the House of Representatives for them to basically vote as representatives of their state for the election of the next president. Well, Jackson here, you can see clearly had a majority of the electoral votes and also had the majority of the popular vote. However, he pissed off Henry Clay. So Henry Clay used his authority as Speaker of the House to convince everybody to vote for John Quincy Adams to make him president.
Yeah, in other words, it's a feces flinging contest at that point. Instead of concentrating on what's important.
Dick measuring contest, because that's what happened there.
Yep. So,
and that's the worst kind of politics. That and instead of promoting what your intentions are if you get elected, you rather want to instead of that you want to use your time on digging up dirt on the competitors instead.
That's what.
Well, this is actually
against Trump, and it didn't work because everybody saw that's what was happening.
This election and the election.
I'm so happy that doesn't happen in Denmark. I mean, that's just infuriating. When
the election, this election and the election after are what started what we currently know as the electoral campaign season and the way candidates act towards each other.
Well, and now here's a question though with this, because you still have territories at this time. Did the territories actually vote towards the election?
No. They're not allowed.
Nope, because they were not states. So think about that, Bo. You have all the actual states making the electoral decision for areas that had zero representation.
Yeah. But this was also during our Manifest Destiny, where we were crossing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But this
you were still infants at that point.
Yes.
Hey! We'll come over there and kick your ass. Don't call us babies. Don't call us babies. If your army is filled up with people like you, Bo, we'll send in our 9-year-old army.
Well,
funny looking back there.
Go think of this. Go to an average Afghan family. Ask the head of the family, in Garesh, anywhere in the green zone, and ask them if they know what the Danish soldiers use as a machine gun and the sound it makes, and ask them if they're scared of that sound alone.
I would think you shoot corn pellets out, and you would put a baseball card in a bike spoke and have somebody doing that while you throw corn pellets real fast.
Oh no.
The German MG62. People are scared of that for a reason.
Well, yeah,
come at me, bro.
But is that the one with the circle on top of it?
Circle on top of it?
Yeah,
think of the MG42. No, think of the MG42. The light machine gun that the Nazis used in the Second World War. The MG 34 and the MG 42.
Okay, there's a variation of this weapon that has I think it was a World War I variation that had a circular drum on top that they just clipped on top and they took off. I think, and if it's not the MG42, it was a predecessor to the MG42.
Well, yeah. Well, I recently found out that actually a Danish officer was part of the team that started the magic of what turned out to be the Germans, the Nazi machine gun of choice.
Well, here's the question. This is something that actually my brother had told me both while he was in country and after in Iraq, that they were more afraid of the Beretta than they were the actual M4 or M16. Like, did you notice that, Drag? Well, no. What it was is the symbology of it, because battle rifles were so prevalent, but when Saddam wanted someone to disappear, it was generally done with a handgun.
Hey,
yeah,
Jay
that's
Brown,
up close and personal.
Can I share my screen real quick?
Oh yeah, no worries.
This was this is one of the newer MG42 with the drum on it. Let me get it.
I do remember the.
Oh, yeah.
Now there used to be a circular drum on a previous version of this. There was a circular drum that actually they put on top, and the 50 rounds or the 35 rounds, however many was in it, would spin around and drop into the chamber.
It was the airborne version. It was the original aircraft version when they were still in biplanes.
Yeah.
But it was a German.
The MG42 and the MG34 to some degree was initially designed with what do you call it, with a wide range of usage in mind. So it could be used both. I shouldn't say hand fired, but you know what I mean. But also used while mounted on a heavy tripod.
Mm-hmm.
But also on jeeps and aircrafts and boats and all that. They had all that in mind.
So, Bo, since you brought up this weapon, I do have one question for you. How many Danish soldiers does it take to carry an MG42?
1.
You're lying.
Well, if I take the MG62, since that's what I ran around with many years ago, I was one man carrying the whole thing, including the extra barrel, the extra bolt, the tripod, and we used the Danish army used the heavy tripod. I'm pulling up a picture of it, even though this version of the machine gun plus the tripod is the German version. I carried all that shit around myself. Okay. Usually, I would have it. Normally, there would be a machine gun helper. Or assistant, I don't know what it's called in English, but
bitch boy.
Yeah, I just did it myself, and I was also used to, in addition to that, carrying the extra ammunition for the guys with their M4s and M16s.
So, and that's why I was a medic.
one more question, Bo. One more question. So, as a ginger, when you steal souls, do you have another method for stealing souls, or do you prefer to use your MG62?
MG62 every day.
So it's great for stealing souls. So if I ever wake up one day and have freckles and red hair, I should just go buy me an M62 or MG62.
Yeah, I mean, as long as I don't have to clean the damn thing afterwards, yes, because it's a bitch. It's a bitch to get into all the Chinese. But no, I mean, if I remember correctly, the machine gun with 1 bolt ready to fire without the ammunition is about 17 kilos, if I'm not mistaken. But that's in a fire-ready state with only the iron sights. And I have had both a day sight and a night scope as well. And they were surprisingly heavy, but the machine gun itself, ready to fire, was 17 kilos.
guys. Sal City Alpha just sent me a picture. I gotta share it with you guys.
Oh no.
Yeah, I hope he's listening. Somebody check the chat because that dude's so fucking awesome. But I've got to share this with you guys.
He is not listed as a participant in the chat.
Okay.
Well, it's just myself and Heat Shield, which is.
Oh, I'm in the chat. No, I'm in the chat somewhere. Yeah, I'm in the chat.
In the live chat, it doesn't say that you're active in it. It doesn't have you listed as a participant.
If someone hasn't posted in a while, they might not.
Yeah, it drops off.
Exactly. Usually, what, 10 minutes or something?
Yeah, that's where. Hey, let's get the algorithm going. If you are watching this and you have access to the live chat, type and send anything. I don't care what it is. Be as crude as you want. Be as vile as you want. Just do something.
Okay, so here's I just shared my screen. Let me pull up Talsetti's picture they just sent me.
What the?
He said he's chilling in Mexico with the family, having a good time. If he can make it back by the time I do my my live stream tomorrow, he'll join if he can. But he's partying right now, so we're not gonna bother that man.
Oh, you son of a bitch, Tao. But wait, does that mean he's listening to this?
Huh?
Does that mean he's listening to this, or was he just harassing you on the back end?
No, I had sent him a message telling him that if he wanted to come on to that to my live stream tomorrow, where I'm going to be doing the 1960s and 70s commercials.
Oh yeah.
So I was going to see if he wanted to get in, but since he's not going to be in until so late, I may just wait and do my stream later. I want to have Bo and them there. So I don't know. You guys going to be up around this time tomorrow, Bo?
I'll be up. I'll be up. Wait.
I can if I need to.
Well, I mean, it's not really a necessity, but I'd love to have you on there. So, I mean, I'm not going to not stream if you don't show up. Like, trust me.
As long as I don't get activated again, and I am not able to dodge it. I mean, well, not dodge it.
Yeah, can you tell us what happened today?
Well, for a couple of weeks now, Sweden has has had a number of huge forest fires, which has, of course, stretched their firefighting infrastructure over past the limits. So much so that they started by asking for help from Denmark and Poland. No, wait, Denmark initially, but at some point they asked the EU for help for reinforcements. So that's going on right now, but Denmark has also suffered a whole bunch of natural fires, serious fires. And earlier tonight here, that would be yesterday because now it's, let's see, 4:30 in the morning almost. But around 7:30 p.m., I got a call from my, a text message from my platoon leader, basically activating me, us, because there was a bushfire, and I later found out it was a bushfire that had been taken care of. That means that they had it under control after many hours of work, but they needed somebody to what do you call that?
Like reinforce the people who've been working.
No. Yeah, well, keep people out of the area, and access control.
Can I ask you a question? Basically. Is this normal weather for you guys? Do you guys typically have annual bush and forest fires?
No, this is nowhere.
What's the cause?
No, this is nowhere near normal. The northern part of Europe. I don't know the extent, but Alan could probably say more about that. Has been experiencing a ridiculous amount of heat for at least a week now, and it'll continue for a couple of weeks still. It is ridiculously
5 weeks here.
Is it? Okay.
It's been 5 weeks here. We've had any rain.
It's been, and England is a rainy country.
Very.
Which is good.
Yeah.
So no, it's unusual conditions. The Danish Fire Department has stated that this is the worst they have ever experienced in history, and they have asked that if this type of weather is becoming the norm, they need to get an increase in budget. So no, this is by no means normal. Anyway, there was this bushfire, and they needed some people to help, with the TCP access control and all that stuff. Thankfully, since I don't own a car, and if I did, I would be at about 20 to 30 minutes drive away from the TCP area. I asked that I called my CO to ask what was going on and so on, and I basically said, if you can't find anyone else to help out, I'm game, but I just don't have any transport capabilities, basically. If this was a big enough thing, I would just go to the police station and requisition a police car if they had any available. But it wasn't big enough of a deal here. It was just an axe, a TCP. It wasn't, if it was searching for a child in the forest and it was winter, that was something. Then there would be no problem getting cars and all that. But none of this. But I later that evening got a text from the CO saying that the amount of personnel that was needed has been covered. So I got off there.
Oh, nice.
That's always a good thing.
Now, Jared, I think we have somebody that's about to dip out, right?
Yeah, Drag.
Yeah, you want to let him?
I was gonna say.
I didn't want to interrupt you because I was actually enjoying it. But, yeah, man, thanks for the invite. I'm going to try and spend some time with the wife and survive the night. Thank you guys for inviting me as always.
Yeah, like I said, Drag,
Draggy.
we're here each Friday night, so you're more than welcome each time.
Yeah, and we don't have enough people that are qualified to dig ditches, so having you in is an absolute benefit to the group.
No, I take care of the boo-boos.
We're just waiting for Bo's leg to heal. Once his leg heals, we can get rid of you. Don't worry. You got some time though. He's Danish. It's gonna take him years to heal.
Hey, asshole. I probably got a couple of years ahead of me with getting my leg trained back up. Maybe one final bit of surgery, but I'm not sure yet. Anywho, the machine gun. Let's see, a window. I'm just going to present this guy. Now, this machine gun does have a sight that enables someone to fire the gun, machine gun from a concealed position. So the gun is in the line of enemy fire, but the shooter is not. But he can still target people and hit them. The scope.
We've had that for a while.
We didn't have that. Periscope. Yeah, but this is the machine gun that I lugged around for years, and the tripod as well.
Did you ever use that periscope?
No, that's the Deutsches Bundeswehr, or the reservists, I guess it is. Yeah, it would be the same as the United States Reserve military or whatever you call it. Not sure. That's what they use.
That camo pattern is ugly.
The German camo pattern, yeah.
That's ugly as shit.
The old Danish camo pattern is sexier, but it only has one color less than the German. We don't.
It looks like it's a pretty cool camo, except for he rolled in shit a little bit.
Yeah,
I didn't get that shit off his uniform and helmet.
Either that or didn't have the brown. But no, this machine gun. I mean, it was awesome. Yes, it weighed a lot, and yes, it was not fun to clean. But man, did people have respect for it. Especially if you did that unofficial modification.
Yeah, you said something about the sound it makes. What's the sound it makes?
Oh, like a chainsaw.
Yeah,
basically.
Yeah, well, there's a reason why it was called Hitler's buzzsaw.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And the thing, I'm not sure here, but the MG42 had a standard rate of fire of, I think it was about 600 rounds per minute.
What's the on the ship, Jared? What's the fire control rate of that? God, I can't think of it now. The one that shoots down missiles.
Sea-Whiz, yeah. Oh God!
Wait, you can't just say Sea-Whiz. Sea-Whiz is a term for different types of weapon systems.
No. The Phalanx Sea-Whiz is the actual nomenclature of the weapon system he's talking about. Is the
but I've just seen different weapons that also are called Sea-Whiz. That isn't the Phalanx, but
no. Well, for the U.S. Navy, when the term Sea-Whiz is used, they are referring to the Phalanx Sea-Whiz. The only thing that is a shorter range than that is the Modus, the 50 cals.
Are they still using the Sea-Whiz, or have they gone beyond that now?
Some ships still have them, like the destroyers and cruisers still have 1 or 2 each. They've pretty much taken them off the carriers and replaced them with the rolling airframe and Sea Sparrow. So they went pure missiles on the carriers now. But yeah, the best name for the Phalanx system was actually R2-D2 with a heart on.
Yeah.
And just cheating. I'm just putting my guess in. It's either 2.5 or 5 kilo. Sorry, 2.5 or 5,000 rounds per minute.
Yeah, I was gonna say somewhere around 2,000 to 2,500.
It's between 2 and 3 if I remember correctly.
Look it up.
Yeah, and it was mean as hell. Well,
the thing.
It didn't look like anything, but it was.
It's slightly higher pitched than the cannon that is used by the A-10.
We ain't close, guys. We're not even fucking close.
Wait, it was 10?
No, I'm talking about the rate of fire.
Yeah.
I'll let everybody fucking look back at it, or not look at it, but guess again. And so I'm gonna tell you, you're way off, all of us. Pneumatic,
but
driven.
No.
Fuck, man.
For the Sea-Whiz?
Yeah, Sea-Whiz.
I'm gonna guess probably around 4,000 to 5,000, to be honest.
Nah. If we're way off and we're in the
he's in the range. He's in the range.
Well,
I just served on surface ships, so I don't know specifics, but it was. I know those things could empty their magazines pretty damn quickly.
They travel.
They can empty
meters per second.
They can empty the drum in less than 2 seconds.
Yep.
Really?
Very a large amount of ammo.
That all cut out, Croc.
Oh.
All we heard was large amount of ammo.
So I'm gonna go look it up now. Let's see what they come up with.
It's 4,500. 4,500.
So 4,000 or 5,000.
With a 1,550 round magazine. Sorry guys, but it can unload the fucking magazine in a third of a second.
Yeah.
Now I don't know how many. There may be more magazines in there. I don't think that whole drum only holds 1,500 rounds. I'm sure it holds more than that. But god damn.
Yeah.
4,500 rounds per minute at 1,100 meters per second. You know how fucking much kinetic energy is in that?
What would be interesting for me is in a combat situation when it runs dry. Is it loaded single shot or is it loaded by a magazine?
I'm sure
because I've seen them being reloaded, and that's single. I mean, it's electrical, but it's slow as hell. It's just a motor running backwards. Slowly.
It's reloaded similar to the way they reload the cannon on an aircraft, where it's actually hand loaded through a setup. It takes a while to reload that thing, and even then, most aircraft, when it comes to the internal gun, most aircraft only have enough rounds for maybe 10 seconds of fire.
Okay, let's be fair to Jared here, though, real quickly. He is right as well. The earlier block of the Sea-Whiz Phalanx did 3,000 rounds a minute.
Well, see, that's what I thought, and that's what we had on the Kitty.
Yeah, I'm sure that the later versions would have the have the ability to be selective in their rate of fire. I mean, that would be sensible to me anyway. I mean, if you
know, when you're shooting down an incoming missile, I think the faster you can get it, the better.
Oh yeah,
well,
sure.
the thing is, though, is they're not going to fire constantly. They're going to line up on that missile coming in. They're just going to they're going to fire really quickly. And I mean, it's a a close in range thing. So I mean, generally you're just going to hear it go, and that's it. I mean, it's already shot the missile down.
You run an OBS.
Wouldn't it be used for boats as well? Small boats.
Yeah, this is all through.
I don't think they use the phalanx
wouldn't need
for
a high
small
rate
boats.
of fire there.
I think they have a different gun for that. It's a much lower rate of fire. It's probably only maybe around a second.
So on
the phalanx would be against small boats. Yeah.
Yeah. So when it came to the carriers, if we had a small boat threat, the Sea Whiz would get it if it was far enough out. But
yeah, it had.
But it was quite the range. It was like barely at visual range was where the phalanx could actually transit down enough to actually get the angle to shoot. But once they got, if the engagement was happening within the visual range from the ship itself, you're looking at using the 50 cals, the actual Modus emplacements, which on the Kitty Hawk we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We had 6 or 7 individual emplacements on the port side alone, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, another, and 6 more on the starboard side. None on the bow, and 4 on the stern.
Well, hey, Jared, I just shared a video of the actual of it shooting down a missile of the Sea Whiz. I don't know if you can share it to them.
1 sec.
Oh yeah, and but no, what? By the way, team, what I said last week or whatever it was, is that if I shoot the M62 from the hip, I would get around 600 rounds per minute. I could.
Jesus.
I could sneak it up to 900 rounds per minute if I first took the recoil spring out of the butt, take the buttstock off, and take the spring, and then get someone to help me spread out the spring, extend it a little bit, and then put it back, and then I would easily get up to around 900 rounds per minute. The standard is if you mount it in that heavy tripod, you could easily get up to 1,200 rounds per minute if you needed to. You would have to cheat a little bit by taking that buttstock off, doing the stretching trick with the spring, and put the spring back. But before you put the buttstock on, you would put a D-cell battery in there as well. Then you could get up to that 1,200 rounds per minute rate of fire.
Are you going to melt your barrel doing it?
Yeah, I was just about to ask that question.
Yeah. It's not a good idea. It was designed, but it was designed to work at 1,200 rounds per minute in an aircraft mounted position. I don't know if it would be modified specifically, but then it would be around 1,200 rounds per minute. But the way that the rate of fire would be increased just by mounting it on the tripod was because of the strange arrangement of springs on the mount itself. It would just like if you have an M16 and you hold it very loosely and it's cold weather and the barrel is cold and all that. If you hold it very, very loosely on fully automatic, you'll get a slower rate of fire than if you hold it firmly and out on your shoulder.
Huh.
Then it would be firing faster in some situations. Because you wouldn't be if you hold that thing very loosely, you would what do you call it? You would retard the
buffer in the stock
reloading. Yeah, exactly. It wouldn't. It would have a harder time working against the spring in the buttstock.
Interesting.
But,
well, hey guys, listen, I got to get going because I got to go feed my kid before it's movie night. Jared, share the link with me, like always. But Bo and everybody here, man, it's always a pleasure. I look forward to these Friday night talks with you guys. It's fucking fun.
We'll catch you for movie night there, Skep.
Yeah, I'll be there movie night, and then tomorrow, anybody wants to join the live stream tomorrow, hopefully we'll get Tau Steady Alpha in there. So that should be fun.
What time's your stream?
I'm looking at like 9 p.m. Central, so we're looking 10 Eastern, 7
plus 6. Well, if it's plus 6, if you're on the East Coast, it's like Side Strike, it's plus 6 hours.
Yeah, I'm not doing that anymore.
I
fucked it up too many times. I fucked up one of GeoStriber's fucking streams. I said I'd be there and was going to show up 12 hours later because that's what I thought the fucking... I just got to get back on Zulu.
That's why I always say, yeah, exactly. Go Zulu or UTC for the non-military folk. UTC
Right.
always works.
But anyway, I do got to go, guys. So I'll see you next Friday.
All right.
Yep.
For those that I don't see before then.
Movie night. So that's, yeah. I should be finished with my stream well before 7 o'clock. So I should be there.
Well, cool. If you can make it, let's do it.
And
it's gonna be fun. We're gonna be making fun of old commercials. It's gonna be badass. It's gonna be fun.
I probably remember a bunch of those commercials from when I was small. So.
And big shout out to Side Strike in the chat. He is here.
It seems like we mentioned movie night, and he just magically shows up.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, he has like a little notification
Radar
thing on his phone. It's like anytime somebody mentions Side Strike's movie night, it'll ding, and he has to go to the thing. Says, "Hey guys, how's everybody doing? Oh, you're talking about me. That's awesome."
Haven't subscribed to Side Strike? Go do that right now.
Yeah, right. All right, guys.
Actually, I'm wondering if Side Strike's
go do that right now. Same for Team Skeptic.
Oh yeah, if you haven't subscribed to me, I don't know what the fuck's your problem. So go subscribe to me before I find you and kick your ass and show you what it's like to be a real tough military Navy guy.
More videos. More videos.
Give you one of those Navy ass whoopings.
I'm sorry. I had something funny right there.
Fan room counseling session.
We outnumber you. Oh, we outnumber you.
Hey, we can always talk as long as we're not in front of each other. What the hell?
Somehow not surprised.
Take that, Side Strike.
Did you guys happen to see what he put in the fucking what Side Strike just put in the chat?
Yeah, I saw that monitor failure over here. Movie night's delayed.
Wait. Delayed just a little bit or rescheduled to another night?
He's gonna wait until I'm busy.
Probably.
And then, yeah, so he's gonna be like, "Hey, every day."
Until he knows that you're already halfway through a tequila bottle.
Yeah, and I don't know if I should ever do that again.
Oh, like, come on, that was amazing.
Really? I thought I was too drunk to fucking.
No, man, you get so romantic and lover boy. I mean,
no way. Do I really?
Yeah.
Oh man, because I love everybody, man.
There is a recording of it,
Oh,
God,
and it was Mel who did it too.
Exactly.
I'm
gonna double make sure you saw that.
Well, hold on. What are we looking at?
Try act rock picture.
Awesome.
How do you feel? How do you feel about that, Side Strike?
24-hour delay, so that will be on
tomorrow night.
Wednesday. On Side Strike standard, that would be Wednesday. Like having Sunday Science on a Tuesday.
Probably closer to Thursday.
Yeah, I never get that. Why I always get notifications for Sunday Science on like Tuesday or Wednesday? Like,
because it's on a Tuesday or a Wednesday.
Yeah, good science there, Side Strike.
Well, since I won't be here for movie night tomorrow.
Hey, is that fuzzy logic?
Yeah,
No, it's
maybe.
Puck Logic.
Now we need
It's Puck
to
Logic. There is a difference.
Yeah.
I just find it so funny how the non-Navy jokes are so bland. Like, they're not really funny. That it doesn't make sense. Like, you're gonna have to explain it in an intelligent way.
That's because non-Navy folk, especially the Army, are no laughing matter.
Wait, I have to see if that one. I thought I put that one in the slideshow, and I haven't seen it come across yet.
Oh, I saw it come across earlier.
Okay, it did.
Okay,
yeah. All right, just
find that one.
That's awesome. Yes, that's.
I need 2 volunteers. For what? I need 1 volunteer.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Fuck. Yeah. I'm more used to. Okay, I need volunteers. You and you. That's what I'm used to.
Oh, that's how I've done it at times.
Yeah. And you have an opinion when I give you one. No, wait, that's
Oh, you'll hear that a lot.
That's the girlfriend. Yeah, that's the girlfriend.
You hear that a lot in the military.
Or the democracy ends at the door.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh yeah, that's always a good one. Then there's
the door to the head. That is.
Eric, that was perfect.
I don't know if you factor that by the right factor of 10 yet, so I don't think it's quite right enough yet.
We love you, Cy. We really do.
You know what the sad part of it is? Most of the time, after a while, most of the Marines get the Navy jokes. It takes them a while, but they usually get it within a year or so.
Well, you know,
slow on the uptake. I mean,
well, being on the short bus, we do have to give them a little bit of extra time.
Well, this is true. I'm serious though. What is this? They go to boot camp and get the intelligence beaten out of them, and then they go to Marine Force recon training and they spend all that time trying to put the intelligence back. I want to know how they do that or why they do that.
Yeah, and here I thought that
were complete bricks when they went when they went off to Marine Force recon training. They come back and they know everything. I mean, they can even they can even read and use proper English at that point.
Yeah, and here I thought that boot camp was used for beating the bad attitude out of them. I guess not.
The intelligence.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Oh, so that's where the CIA recruits all their personnel.
Oh, right.
Believe it or not, actually, yeah, from the intelligence group of the Marines and Army.
Marines, Army, Navy.
Yeah.
We have intelligence specialists that they recruit too.
Well, they did, but I got out of the military already, so.
Intelligence.
Oh my
god.
No, I'm saying I was the intelligence of the Navy, and then I got
Yeah, well, I was gonna, and as I was trying to say, says the person who says he needs to go to feed his kid, and yet is still here almost 15 minutes later.
I have texted. Side Strike showed up. Fucking
Team Skeptic. Team Skeptic, am I correct in saying that when you left the military, the IQ both in the military and out increased?
No, actually, it's opposite.
Oh, okay.
Decrease.
Decrease, yeah.
Yeah, all right.
No, we started sending all of our rejects and all that to militaries outside of the country to train them, like the Danish army.
that you got from the from the Marines, okay. I guess.
So here is the no shit Sherlock thing for the day. I have a bottle of fluid for my e-cig here. It says in great big black letters on a white background, warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical. Duh. No
Really?
shit, Sherlock.
Peanuts contain nuts.
Well, with that,
that one always gets me. This product may
Sorry,
contain nuts.
peanuts
Yeah.
may contain
Well, see-
nuts.
Well, see, that was the point in time when I realized that the human race was fucked.
Yeah, when they started putting that
I
on the
had-
cigarette pack, that was
No,
hilarious.
or
No,
wait,
for me
wait.
specifically, I had a tin of Virginia peanuts, big letters on the front of it, and I happened to glance at the back and noticed there's an allergy warning: may contain trace amounts of peanuts.
Wait, no,
thing is,
no. Even before that,
What?
even before
that's
that,
Virginia. That explains a lot, actually.
even before that, on a styrofoam coffee cup, caution, contents may be hot.
You can
Yeah,
thank
you know
McDonald's
what?
for that one.
Oh, yeah, but they
If it
had
wasn't
to do
for the-
that though.
They have to
Yeah,
do that
if it-
because of what's her face spilled a cup of coffee on her crotch and then sued McDuggies.
Well, and
Yeah, but
and
that,
here's
that
here's the
coffee was
hilarious
exceptionally
thing.
hot though.
Well, here's the
It
thing
was,
though.
yeah.
Her lawsuit, she didn't even want nearly as much as she got awarded. She just wanted to cover her medical costs.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have to put that on there so that you can't spill it and say, "Oh, I didn't know it was hot." But yes, that the cup they gave her was hotter than most cups of coffee.
195, I think it was.
Well, that's
190,
what-
something like that.
It was
And it's
hot.
supposed
It
to be
was hot
180.
enough to cause third-degree burns.
Yeah, that's inappropriate by
Why did she put it down?
No.
I want to know why she put it down between her legs rather than in the coffee cup holder.
Because what if she didn't have a coffee cup holder? And what if how many times have you ever put a drink between your legs?
Well,
They've been
Hey,
they've
truckers
been
call it
standard on-
dick beer.
They've been standard on cars in this country for I don't even know how long. Okay,
If I remember right, when did
I
the
once had
when did
I
this
once
happen?
had a-
Late 80s?
No, it was
like
in
that.
the 90s. It was in the.
Oh,
I'm
was
pretty
that?
sure it was
Yeah,
in.
early to mid 90s. But
Oh, let me see.
I had, funnily enough, I had a truck, a Datsun pickup truck that had been made in 1978. It had built-in cup holders. At a time
I
when
think
they were
the ma-
considered optional.
Oh, she
You know what,
she got less than what she was awarded. She was awarded 2.86 million and only got 640. I'm trying to find the date on it. Let me see.
Hey, I got
The main problem
92.
with this stuff, the main problem with this retarded stuff is basically the United States legal system. Where
Yeah.
you can sue somebody, you can sue a guy for inducing psychological pain in your kid because when you walked across the side, along the sidewalk, somebody picked their nose in front of your kid, and the kid now has traumatic memories of it, and then you can sue the guy.
And your kid started picking his nose, and therefore it's worth suing him. No, actually, you have no idea what kind of lawsuits are being filed this week.
Yep.
There's been lawsuits because there's like a whole shitload of lawsuits over Trump being president. That they are personally in a situation where they're completely just done mentally, post-traumatic stress disorder, you name it, they're claiming it, and all because Trump beat Hillary.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh.
So think of it like this.
This was actually suggested to me by someone as what could be the coup de grace, and this is perfect segue for it. The PTSD of Twitter.
Oh God! Don't even get me started about that shit.
The people who don't know how to use fucking block. Come on, people. There's a button there that says block. All you gotta do is block it. You don't get traumatic stress from blocking somebody you don't fucking like.
No, I can't remember the guy's Twitter profile.
People disagreed with her, and she said, "No, thanks a lot, guys. Now I've got PTSD from Twitter."
Yeah,
I'm
following. Yeah, I'm following I think it was his Twitter profile was Angry Aussie Vet or something like that.
Oh,
I think he was Australian. He actually he was he gave what do you call it? he won a trip to Twitter grade jail for because he apparently pissed off some girl who was offended by something he said, and she claimed that she was getting she didn't say PTSD directly, but she was implying it, and then he got his ass kicked for it. He has PTSD, by the way. Yeah, Twitter PTSD. Yeah, that's totally a thing, a real thing.
Yeah, I can't stand people that have victim mentality.
Usually, it's combat vets that have that problem, not some idiot on Twitter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, or rape.
I mean, I don't want to. Yeah, I was about to say, I don't want to take down from that, because there are people that suffer things at young ages, and it stays with them. It makes them, if you've ever seen a child that you've reached out to give them a congratulatory pat on the shoulder, and he kind of twitches. And I've seen these kids, and I've seen these kids from people was already suspected that the father or mother or both were either mentally or physically abusing them. And you think to them, man, that kid's going to do that his entire life. That is PTSD, whether people want to name it or call it what it is. When someone's psychologically affected by something that hit them or that occurred in their life previous, then yes, it's PTSD. But Twitter, really? You think that someone else's opinion of you is a fucking psychological disorder?
It's a long cry from Twitter.
Hey, boy, it's a link in the side chat.
I found the guy. His name. He calls himself Old Soldier, or at OMG the Mess. That's the one I was talking about there.
No, my wife says they're called twit heads for a reason.
Yeah.
Twatters.
Twit. Yeah.
But what I was going to say is, if you think of a very, very large corporation in America, right? They have to have a legal team that's going to be a top-notch legal team. So it's going to cost a lot of money to have them per hour to book them out. So a lot of a trend in America is that if something even negligible happens to you, you sue the company. Because if you sue them, and let's say you're not asking for a lot, let's say you're asking for $10,000. Well, if you try to, if they want to defend themselves, it might cost them more than $10,000 to defend themselves. So a lot of times they'll just pay it out because it's not worth their time to try to defend, especially when you're $1 billion company and 10,000 is like pennies to you.
Oh yeah, you got to look at the cost risk analysis. That was one thing as my time as a business owner that I got good at, but got annoyed with at the same time, is doing a cost analysis for the potential ROI of anything that we were looking at doing.
Anything and everything.
Yep.
Have to.
And then there's the problem with people seeing this and saying, okay, yeah, I'm too lazy to hold a job. Okay, let me do this. Let me do these. Let's just sue people, sue companies that have enough money to not care. I mean, to rather just pay up instead of fight it.
Yeah,
I literally
litigants.
I literally brought this up last week. I don't think you were here. It might have even been the week before when I said I had a friend of mine who was talking about, he noticed that they were using the hot water spout off of the coffee they were pouring them directly onto towels and then bringing the towels directly to the table. And it was definitely something that you should not do as a business. Okay. But my friend was like, oh man, I'm going to take one of those towels and throw it on my kid's face. And then I'm going to sue them. And I was like, no, you're not. No, you're fucking not. But there are people. He's a prime example of someone that would do that to their child for $1 million. So those people exist, and he's not a friend of mine anymore.
And those people should not be allowed to breed.
No, he has 7 kids.
Unfortunately, they breed too much.
Yeah, he has 7 kids.
Oh.
And this is where
maybe that's the underlying reason. Maybe that was the underlying reason. He didn't want to do it because of the money. He wanted to do it because he has too many fucking kids.
Yeah.
But no, this is one of the reasons, again, one of the main reasons why I'm happy not to be American, is the legal system. in Denmark, if somebody wants to sue somebody or a company for something stupid, they get laughed at before they even even get the chance to go to court.
Dude, we're so afraid of offending somebody personally that we don't do stuff like that. We should. When somebody comes up with a frivolous lawsuit, you should be like, get the fuck out of here. First off, if you push a lawsuit, you're going to face legal charges if you're bullshitting. How about that?
Yeah. I mean, if you try to dry your pet in a microwave and the manual doesn't state that you shouldn't do that because it might endanger the life of said pet, if you as a consumer having this problem and you try suing the Philips or Whirlpool for the ones who
save that.
Who made that microwave and didn't put that warning in the manual. If you sue them in the US, you can win, no problems. But in Denmark, you would get laughed out.
Right.
I don't even think that a lawyer. No, I don't even think a lawyer would even for that consumer would even take on that case.
Wait, go back one, Jay.
I mean,
we have this one already.
Okay.
I just haven't gotten it posted yet. I'm thinking about setting up a Google Drive or something to just send them to you directly.
All right, that'll
Here's
work.
how you tie your shoes, son.
Yeah. And I do like that one where some idiots use, I guess they're ammunition boxes for wooden ammunition boxes for copper. That's really smart.
I like that one.
Well, I've seen images like that where you'll probably end up finding it. There was one in particular. It was an FA-18 Charlie, so original Legacy Hornet, fucked up on the ground, and the text around it had to do with is U.S. Navy technicians taking a GED and fixing what a college degree just fucked up.
Oh yeah.
Nice.
Ooh, is that a stomach growling in the background?
No, that's a kid screaming because he didn't want to.
No. Well, no. I'm sure I'm hearing a tattooed guy's kid's stomach growling.
Nope.
I'm sure of it.
3, almost 4-year-old.
Okay. I don't I don't know if you're tattooed, but I'm talking about a really skinny guy with a lot of tattoos. He has a spa thing going on as well.
Yeah, because I took it upstairs. He doesn't want to be there. And he's stuck. For him, I don't care.
Oh, that's a good one.
That one's coming to the Discord direct there, Jared.
What? What? Oh, hold that.
Yeah.
Anyway, back to the whole idea of presidents. The reason Obama was nearly as terrible as he was, because the man was a freaking cuck. Go home, A10. You're drunk. Can you back up one? I was gonna.
I think we have that one.
Agree with that one.
I only see the bottom half of it when I go to sit down.
Okay, that's not how you put on camouflage. What's wrong with the neck and the lips and the eye sockets?
He's in the Air Force.
He's in the Air Force. He doesn't know how to apply it correctly, and it doesn't look like actual camo paint. It looks like it. God damn, he got that shit all over his cover too. Damn.
Yeah. Well, and here's the thing.
Oh man.
And here's the thing, I'm Navy, never did any ground pounding, but I still know. You alternate the colors. You do the light colors in the eye socket, you do the dark colors around it, because you're trying to break up the human face silhouette.
Actually, that would depend on the...
yeah, it depends on where you're going. Yeah.
Especially
Okay,
for,
there you go. I want that.
hell? Oh, that's a good one. Nice.
I want
No,
that
I mean,
one.
in Denmark, we do, of course, have the standard way of putting on our war paint, but we also need to take into account the area that we're going into.
Yeah.
Because, okay, just like most other countries, I guess, there's a lot of different kinds of terrain, which makes me wonder why the hell we got that multi-terrain pattern for a new uniform, because that's ridiculous. But nice. But
we're back. You know, we actually wandered back into
dear.
Mainland.
Yeah, we
But it
did.
just took a
But
lot longer this time than it did last time. Probably because Bo was monopolizing the conversation. Wait, back that up.
Like a certain Lord Crocodile never monopolizes anything, right?
There is no Lord Crocoduck. You're thinking of Lord Crockett Squirrel. You're thinking of Lord Crocoduck or King Crocoduck.
Crockett Squirrel, Crockett Squirrel too, sir.
But yeah, we already have that one.
King Station Hazard. How do you get hazard pay for being stationed near a Marine base?
Be Air Force.
Marines? No, the Marines. You're close to Marines. Oh, is he? That guy in the previous picture, was he trying to show his hip? If he has a hip somewhere?
Army Reserve, right there.
Yeah, Reserve is right.
When I do, it's mandatory. Ha! Why am I not surprised?
That is true for all branches.
Exactly. You should just say military in general, but yeah.
I had a really good time in the Navy when I was in the once I got out to the desert and there was like nothing to do but have fun. Yeah, I had a lot of fun.
Hey, Jared, did my picture of a F-130 get into the to the slide rotation?
Let me go check the folder. I believe it did.
Tech, that is great. That is great.
What one?
The one, the Air Force one that you posted.
Okay, put it up on the screen for everyone else.
Okay, hold on just a second here.
Yeah, share with the class, man.
Oh, where'd it go?
We got about 15 minutes, though, guys.
Does it show?
Oh, no, well, keep in mind, there's no movie night tonight, Squirrel.
Is there not?
No.
Why not?
Technical issues.
24-hour delay.
Were you taking a nap while we were talking to Sidestrike?
He must have
I
been.
haven't been watching the live chat.
Sidestrike delayed movie night for 4 hours.
Yeah, I'm wondering if he accidentally zapped his monitor, or if I don't know if it's a flat screen. I mean, I imagine he's old enough to still have a CRT monitor, and he yanked the high voltage transformer out of it.
All right, Bo, I actually
That's
did
not
not.
showing up.
I did not see it in there. So.
Okay, I know it wasn't the biggest. Yeah, or should I say bigly? No, it wasn't the biggest picture in terms of resolution. So
Stop sharing. Try this again.
See, because I don't want to do my live stream unless we've had movie night.
Okay, so it was that one. All right, I just pulled up the Discord.
How the Air Force tells when their Wi-Fi goes out. Oh, jeez. My Wi-Fi was out for several days.
Oh, hey, look what the next one was.
Nice.
Lord of the Flies.
Oh yeah, that's great right there.
See, and I thought I saved that one. Okay. You know what?
I'm sure you guys have seen this video with with a tiny girl,
wow,
an adult firing a revolver. I think it was a 50 cal revolver.
Guess
where she knocked herself out with due to the recoil, and of course knocked herself on the ass while doing it. What the hell? Nice.
Join the Air Force, they said. You'll get to fly planes, they said.
Oh, that is all. That is every branch E3 and below.
Oh yeah.
You will explore the world.
Be the best decision of your life, he said.
Yeah, exactly, Tech.
Okay, back up one. Back up. I'm going to see that one again.
It's like, sorry, I was in the submarine force. I was in the submarine force back in the days of like all the advanced, accelerated advancement fields. We didn't have E3s.
It just means that just means that after A school, you didn't have to mop the head.
Oh no!
Oh
just
no!
All the E4s and E5s for doing it.
Oh Jesus Christ!
Yeah, it's still low man on the totem pole, and when the lowest person's an E4, well, guess what?
Oh yeah, on our rate we didn't have anything. We only had busted down E3s, but we didn't have.
Had 111 crew and officers on our boat, 4 E3s and below.
For the record,
that sucks for the E4s.
Don't forget ETSR. He actually went to the fleet like that.
That takes skill. That takes skill.
Yeah, you have to be trying to do that.
Oh, he got busted down 3 times or twice.
I guess you theoretically could do it on the surface force, but
there was a Charizard in there.
Alright.
Yeah, that guy's playing too much Pokemon Go. Civil Air Patrol.
Oh, that's what the ROTC was for, then, eh? Or no, that's not. That wasn't. That wasn't Air Force.
Is his name Durr? D-U-R-R? Looks like it.
Or no, his last name was D-O-R-K.
No. I want to. Okay.
That's awesome.
One of these days we're actually going to get somebody in here from USAF, and they're going to be pissed. They're going to be pissed.
Oh, we just had one earlier.
Oh, good.
Yeah,
who's Air Force?
Drafting Master.
Yeah, Drafting Master, and he.
I thought he said he was Army.
No, he was Air Force, and he can dish it out just as well. That's why open invitation.
Oh man, come on, come back.
Yeah, we yell because we care.
So a Drafting Master, is that someone who's really good at farting, or what does he do?
Wow. We'll have to ask him when we can get him on the panel.
Yep.
2 in the pink, 1 in the stink.
Oh fuck!
Oh, man.
The Baron is on the case.
Wow.
The Red Baron has taken flight.
Or C-17.
KC-135
Yep.
Oh.
There you go, Jared. You can make that one a poster for yourself.
Yeah. Okay, give me a couple minutes.
Turn that shit into a shirt for RJ, into t-shirts for RJ. That'd be great. One must.
Wow. Oh,
Air Force joined Chuck Norris. Yeah, there you go.
Hey, Jay, go over to the mess decks and take a look at the last one that, well, actually the last 2 that Tech put in there.
Oh yeah, no, that's the
Argentinian Navy one especially.
All right, one for the mess check.
That one is a little cold there. I feel bad for those people that were on the ship.
70% water.
What was that, Crocodile? Crocus Girl, what was that? 70 what now?
70% water.
Join the Navy. See the world.
70% water.
Yeah, but the world isn't 70. But the world. I'm sorry, I'm just a bit pedantic right now. The Earth is not composed of 70% water.
But the surface,
surface
is
is
covered.
The surface is, yeah.
Let's go for a run.
But since the Navy also has submarines, you shouldn't use the surface as long.
It says here, the last one we have up here is, why does the Argentine Navy have a submarine? So it can go underwater and check out the rest of their Navy.
Go, Grano.
You can do it! Absolutely. That is air support.
I bet you that's the commissary on base, too.
Oh, yeah, it's gotta be.
Actually, that's the post exchange at Fort Lewis McCord. I can tell you exactly where that is. I've seen that building.
Guys, I kind of feel left out. I still need someone to make up a meme for the Danish mechanized machine gun photo that Jim Brown threw in the mess deck a couple of days ago.
Oh, yeah, I was going to say.
Kind of like the military, kind of like elementary school. I like it. I like it a lot. We're going to talk shit
Everybody
about
say cheers!
Right.
Well, where are all the balloons, though?
The RAF actually does things, so.
Yeah, they kicked Jerry's ass.
Okay, who's trying to kill me? Oh no! That's who did. Okay, which dictator is responsible for that?
Oh,
Can we
There's
blow that
probably
up?
a second lieutenant.
I'm trying to figure out what type of rounds those are.
that should have, instead of rounds, that should have been disposable earplugs instead.
You know,
No.
those look like 9mm.
Honestly,
Yeah,
it would be better if those were Daisy. What are those, 9mm?
Yeah, they look like 9mm.
Yeah,
Well, it's a standard M4 magazine, so nah.
Yeah,
You
it could
sure
be
about that?
No, those are definitely sidearm rounds.
Yeah. The sad thing is that he is I won't say damaging, but the magazine is bulging because of it.
Yeah.
So
I mean, messing around is fine by me, but
we play them in their baseball unis or their battlefield. Pretty much the same thing. Wait a minute, back up one. You flashed it.
We saw it last week.
Yeah.
Climbing
oh,
behind us.
I thought it was. I believe I can fly.
No, it's off we go into Wild Blue Yonder. It's actually called Wild Blue Yonder. Bill Lucky Punk, you should. I'm probably gonna miss. Oh,
With a
dear.
911? Yeah. 9. I said 911, didn't I?
Hey, left two,
Oh.
just one more.
1911.
Air Force, I'm a Marine. Okay.
Hmm.
Oh, come on, Tekatron. Yeah.
Wait a minute. Is that Housewives? Are they watching
Wow.
Housewives?
No,
Seriously?
no.
What the hell?
No, that
Watching
was a
that?
Progressive commercial. That was Flo.
Oh, no, I have.
No, Flo, that's something that happens every 3 weeks. That's something, no.
I was.
What?
Oh yeah, no, I've got those. I've actually done that to people.
That answer has to be the best answer though on that last one.
Hey, submarine dot.
Yeah.
No,
Hey, go back to that previous answer.
needs to go into Side Strike's server.
Oh, I am so putting it there right now. Where should I put that? General or puns or puck play?
Pun. Well,
Screen caps? Nah.
no, because it's not a screen
puns.
cap.
No.
Yeah, it's puns.
Puns?
Yeah, puns.
All right.
I wonder
right
if
on the
there's a if there's a Pugwatch.
I want to copy that thing with the ID 10T forms.
Yeah, show that one again. I want to read that. Finish reading the response. I love how he started out.
Yeah, and please post the direct link to that in the internal chat.
All right, hold on, guys.
Oh, it's in Discord.
Obviously, don't have
I
a
haven't got a
1015.
1015 in hand. Right. Ask for a B.
Next to the chemtrail batteries.
Chem light batteries.
Yeah, the chem light batteries, yeah.
Oh, yeah,
the pan eye removers and the buckets of yeah.
Like I've been trying to requisition a box of landing strips for a while.
And the brass magnets too.
Yeah, requisitioning a box of landing strips.
2x4 extenders.
Bulkhead remover.
Yeah. Gig line.
Oh God, no.
I've sent someone looking for gig line.
The keys to the drop zone. I
Fallopian
want to
tube.
copy that one.
All right, gentlemen. Well, I really got to go feed my kid now. He's basically starving at this point. So.
Yeah, you might want to do that.
No, I went there and asked him.
I
asked that asshole. I was like, "Look, hey, you ready to go eat?" I was like, "It's 10 p.m. at night, bro. When you guys tell me earlier," and he's like, "I've been eating barbecue all day." I'm like, "Oh, what the fuck? Barbecue chips aren't gonna get you anywhere in life. Like, so let's go get some fucking meat and vegetables."
Yeah. In case you're not familiar with Fluffy, the stand-up comedian.
Oh,
there's one of his stand-up comedy shows where he's talking about his kid, 15-year-old kid.
Yeah.
At that point, we're just he just goes around all the time just while texting, and if you ask him something, is he like kind of like that? Or did he actually go and feed his kid this time?
I think he actually did leave this time.
He did leave. No way. Wow.
Yeah, he left.
Cool.
Wow. All right, let's see if we got any other good ones before we wrap this up. Oh, where's Drag when we need him?
But the army gets the cool cars, as long as it's not the puppy cars.
I was gonna say, do you know what movie that's from?
Dumb and Dumber.
That's Jim Carrey from Dumb and Dumber. Marines. Why would he do that?
Huh? If it was me, take off that damn ring, and you're probably inside a. No, that's stupid. Nope.
Well, here's the thing: they can wear a single ring on the right hand.
Really?
Yes.
Well, okay. If you're in a dress uniform, I could see, but if it's normal fatigues, it would be prohibited,
Force
right?
Flying squirrels. I want that one too. I want that one too.
Nice.
I'll get that to you in a minute.
Air power.
Oh,
Blah.
no.
Oh God.
No.
The quote history unquote channel again.
Soldiers of Marine, the first time in Air Force defect. Meme Center Air Force.
Oh, Sly, where are you?
No. I'm sending that to Gio. I'm sending that to Gio.
I'll get that to you in a second here, man.
And that's a heckling cop M75. Well, he was wearing in G3, I think. Jeez.
Oh,
God.
Oh, where did he go? Where did that one go?
Yeah, Air Force, from what I hear, doesn't have to do all that well for PRT. I know we got stuck with like the huge PRT.
Yeah, it's all relative.
Hey, Jared, how far did you guys have to run for your PRT?
1.5 miles.
Yeah, we actually wound up doing 2.
Well, being
probably count because you can't count to one.
What? No, here's the question for you. When you're aboard ship, when are you ever going to go more than 1,000 feet?
And you wouldn't be able to
1,000
run.
feet, that's a luxury.
I can't remember what the sports are called. The one where you jump the gates all.
Hurl.
Yeah, the hurl.
The never before seen Air Force vetting ceremony.
I think that's a good one to end the night on.
Yeah.
Oh,
The time, how long it takes you to run a mile. Where am I going to run a mile on a fast attack submarine?
Okay, you're holding that camera wrong, dude.
Okay, I found an even better one.
Oh, jeez. Nice.
No, actually, you know what we did for PRT? We actually had to do like, what was it, 6 laps around the deck, around the flight deck.
Yeah, that would about do it.
What?
So, with that, for those who have stuck with us this long, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Get a life.
As Red would tell everybody.
Yeah, well, he would say it at the beginning though too, but granted, he gets hundreds of people watching in one shot.
Oh, yeah.
But granted, I haven't been doing this nearly as long as he has, and I don't cover the same type of subject matter in this venue.
Do we have like 5?
And I would say he is much more of a masochist than you are, Jared, in terms of topics.
Oh no.
For videos.
Oh no, because when the topics come up and he does a live stream instead of a video, I'm right there too. So I am just as much of a masochist. Not to mention how much have I been in movie night?
Yeah,
that's true. That does give you some.
How long have you been part of movie night there, Jared?
It's been almost a year.
I joined up back in October, so I haven't got quite as long in it as you have. But yeah, I've had people come to me and say, "You're an idiot. Why the hell would you put yourself through that?" And I said, "I put myself through editing an Ian Juby video twice. What's your excuse?"
All right. So, for those who weren't here at the beginning, one of the topics and one of the reasons for having this and making it open, free form for all veterans is because of just we need a venue to indulge in ourselves and be with like-minded individuals. And one of the reasons for that is the 22 Kill organization that is linked in the description below the video, which is bringing awareness to the suicide threat that is afflicting the entire veteran community as a whole, where an average of 22 veterans a day commit suicide or at least attempt to. And it's something that we all need help at some point or another. We all need some sort of outlet to better deal with whatever is bugging us. Some people do it through masochism. Hello. Other people do it through humor. We're all here to help each other. And with that, we will see all of you next week. Be sure to like, subscribe, and there's more hilarity to come.